only builds the anticipation, but more than that, I think it sets the stage for a really well organised event throughout the course of the weekend.
Over the next 4 days, Adelaide Oval will host 5 games, with 2 at the Parade and 2 at Mount Barker. But the footy is just one part of it. There are player appearances, a zip line across the Torrens, food and wine festival at Norwood, activities in the hills, and a concert outside the Oval on Sunday. These interstate visitors have told Seven it's where they want to be.
This year we're actually travelling for 8 weeks around South Australia, and we worked it all around the Gather Round.
We've got 10 days here to take in the whole atmosphere of Adelaide.
There'll be another option when it comes to paying for food and drink at Adelaide Oval from tonight. Cryptocurrency has arrived. Crows CEO Tim Silvers says the pilot program is a world first for a major stadium.
We wanted to innovate for our members and fans, so to give them the opportunity to purchase food and bev through crypto.com. Currency is just an exciting element.
Australian basketball legend Andrew Bogut has slammed the AFL's drug stance. Kiara Parker reports.
Andrew Bogut has accused the AFL of orchestrating secret tests to cover up blatant substance abuse. He claims the league knew it had an issue with players using drugs and says the fact it's been kept under wraps for so long shows how far the AFL tentacles can reach. The ex-NBA star believes the AFL has tried to move the chess pieces around to navigate a wider policy it's agreed to abide by. Bogut says AFL players have even offered him drugs. He says the AFL should clean up their own league before preaching on social issues. Bogut's comments come after federal MP Andrew Wilkie exposed how players were advised to fake injuries to dodge being tested on game day.
All levels of government are being urged to consider cutting their spending in a bid to reduce the tax burden on Australians. New analysis from the Centre for Independent Studies shows tax revenue for this financial year will be close to an all-time high. Senior fellow Robert Carling says a reduction in government programs would allow them to lower taxes.
Let's face it, government does a great deal these days. Does it need to do all of those things, or concentrate on doing fewer things more effectively?
Now to 5AA Sports.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
And here's Tom Redden.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has made a whopping 5 changes ahead of tonight's Gather Round opener against Melbourne at home. They've lost Wayne Millerer and Lockie Murphy to injury, while Luke Pedler, James Borlace and Lockie Scholl have been dropped. Jordan Butts, Paddy Parnell, Braden Cook, Sam Berry and Luke Nankervis all come into the side. The rest of the teams for the weekend will be released a little later tonight. Let's get to the A-League, and Perth Glory and Sydney FC have played out a 1-1 draw last night in a result that means the Glory can't make the finals this season. The Sky Blues are now sitting in 4th. Meantime, in the English Premier League, Arsenal is chasing a win as it looks to keep pace for the title, and the Gunners are off to a good start, leading 2-0 at half-time against Luton.
Here's Emile Smith-Rowe, and that is 2-0 Arsenal. Reece Nelson ends up in the net with the ball.
Audio there thanks to Optus. It's also half-time between Brentford and Brighton, where it's 0-0, while the match between Manchester City and Aston Villa has just kicked off. It's also goalless there. Well, Tim Tszyu and his conqueror Sebastian Fundora have both been suspended by boxing officials. That's after their bloody battle in Las Vegas, to give them time to recover from their injuries. And American surfers Cole Hushman and Caitlin Summers have taken out the Bells Beach Pro titles. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA Gather Round forecast.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny and 22 today. Tomorrow sunny 24. Saturday partly cloudy 25. And Sunday cloudy 23. Right now in Adelaide it's 13. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. After months of waiting, our all-new Mirage Italian-made floor tiles are now in store at a once-only introductory saving of $30 per square metre. That's right, as a once-only introductory offer, save $30 per square metre on these magnificent all-new Italian-made floor tiles. But only, yes, only for this first shipment. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Not all of us are lucky enough to call the hills home. We enjoy space, we seek change, we choose to discover what is on the road less travelled. And when you turn off the freeway to Bridgewater, you'll discover the home of Nissan in the hills. Adelaide Hills Nissan has the full Nissan range right here, from the Qashqai to the Navara and everything in between. Take the road less travelled to Nissan's home in the hills. Adelaide Hills Nissan, since 1954. Mount Barker Road, Bridgewater, LMVD 325189.
Now, when you're experiencing an injury or a health emergency, every minute counts. If your emergency can't wait, neither should you.
Calvary has been caring for South Australians since 1900, including at South Australia's newest hospital, Calvary Adelaide, home to the state's only 24-hour private emergency department.
So when you need fast expert treatment, they're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with shorter wait times, personalised attention from experienced specialists and nurses, and comfortable state-of-the-art facilities.
As a privately owned, non-government funded emergency department, an out-of-pocket fee means you're getting the highest level care. When you or a loved one needs emergency care, trust in the emergency department at Calvary Adelaide, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
Having access to reliable healthcare services gives us all peace of mind. Too many South Australians living hundreds of kilometres from Adelaide have a local hospital that doesn't have enough nurses or midwives. Frightening? Without state government action, we won't have the nurses and midwives needed to keep our regional hospitals running. Support those who care for us at regionalincentives.com.au. Authorised by EDBARS ANMF SA Branch Ridleyton.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast, the 4th of April, the official start of Gather Round. In a footy sense, the whole thing feels like it's been going all week, but that takes place today, which means that today the pressure is on for tickets. We have the remaining final tickets in town. Got to say, the number of 50-year-old people that stopped me yesterday to say this.
Lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Where's my normal speed one? Here we go.
Door beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
I got stopped 5 times yesterday and people just said that out of nowhere. And I said, sorry, we're not on the air. I can't give away any tickets at the moment. But we will be over the course of the morning. Also coming up today, Matt Abraham will join us. We will dissect the spin of the last week with Matt Abraham. Dan Houston from the Port Adelaide Football Club. And also Callum Ham and Themis, the dynamic duo of restaurants and the culinary school here in Adelaide, are turning their hand to radio here at 5AA. We're going to chat with them just before 9 o'clock. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Adelaide, to all our many, many interstate visitors. Apparently the majority of the tickets that have been sold. Is it the majority of people visiting from elsewhere?
No, I think it's the last night it was 38%. I think.
38.
Up from 32 last year.
Yeah, okay. That's wild. Like close so close to half. You know, 38%. My math isn't my strong suit. But
nearly 4 out of 10.
That's close. That's close. But we hope you have a good time while you're here. We hope that you scotch your long-standing, cliche-driven eastern states perceptions of Adelaide as being some dull backwater where you're likely to wind up in a shallow grave. And I'm sure you'll go home in one piece, fully fed and watered. And it's just a terrific time to be here. And I tell you what, I mentioned the Channel 9 show on Tuesday night with Eddie Maguire. Well, last night it was the front bar that rolled into town. And it's not just the crowds that they're attracting, but it's the fact that this incredibly positive story about South Australia is being beamed into every footy fan's home across the entire country. And, again, we had a long conversation last night about whether logistically and feasibly it would make sense to hold Gather Round anywhere else. I reckon the only other city that really deserves it is Perth.
Yeah,
but then you've got the huge problem. You can't jump in the car and drive to Perth.
No, it's not feasible.
I mean, there'd be people listening to us now, and if you are, give us a ring, folks, 8223 300 Who's in the car driving over from Victoria right now? Be South Aussies coming back? What is it, 10 past 6 in the morning? I don't think too many people would have made an earlier start than that. Some of them might have. Some of them might have hit the road at 5. But that's the problem with Perth. It'd be great if there was a way you could click your fingers and be in Perth, but going to Perth's like going overseas, particularly if you're going from, like, you know, Sydney or Melbourne. It is the longest flight.
It suddenly doesn't feel like a concept designed to be taken on the road. Like, it feels like a concept that needs a central hub, a logistical central hub that people can have easy access to. I think inadvertently that's what has been discovered as the strength of the concept. If it can be a place that people can get to easily and equally, then it will have a great deal of success. I'm sure when this was first conceived, the idea was, well, we can set this up anywhere. You know, we'll launch it in Adelaide, but we could easily do it in Sydney or in Brisbane or in Perth. But I think we've just discovered that actually no, this is not a mobile concept. This needs to be somewhere that is accessible, which is great news for us here.
And it needs to be somewhere where you're going to get that level of excitement. You know, I mean, like last night, you know, the Jarmans are on the panel, Blighty's on the panel, John Cahill and Chock are on there. Like, there's just so much heritage to draw on, and it means that the public get up and about. You know, people with, you know, memories of the SANFL going back to the 1950s are going to games on this weekend because they really, really care a hell of a lot about football. And that's where it would risk looking second-rate through low attendances in a place like Sydney or in a place like Brisbane, because not enough people care about it.
I wonder how long Brisbane's going to be in that camp. Brisbane itself,
I think forever.
There are more junior footballers coming out of Queensland than South Australia thing rings in my ear. I'm not saying next year. I'm saying 20 years.
I just don't think it's there. I mean, you know,
but did you ever think we'd get to a point where they're producing more footballers than we are?
Well, yeah, okay.
I'm not saying imminently. I'm just wondering.
It doesn't feel like there's that mass public support for it still.
No.
I mean, I was laughing yesterday when the Brisbane Lions were saying that they're having a little hissy fit about the Vegas scuttlebutt, and one of the tactics they're thinking of in response is they're going to boycott any dealings with 3AW or the Herald Sun. And I was laughing at myself thinking, well, good luck relying on the rugby league-loving Queensland Courier Mail as your chief organ for publicity. Hey, you know that Vegas thing?
Yeah.
That's got the risk of becoming Brisbane's camp story.
Oh, do you
because
think?
It's one of those things that just everyone talks about it. No theory is too outlandish. Everyone's seen those absurd texts doing the rounds. Oh, and then Zork said this, and then in comes McLuggage, and oh, you won't believe what happened next. You didn't hear this from me. It's from a mate of a mate. All that garbage circulating on Big Footy. But as with the camp, it'll get to the point where these things just become urban myths. And journos get suckered into covering them. And then the club gets into this whack-a-mole situation where some new allegation's made.
Yeah, could be.
And they go, oh, well, no, that didn't happen. But then maybe some little parts of it did happen.
Well, I think quite clearly something happened, and something's destroyed morale of that football club because they're not playing anything like they were last year. But we'll talk more about footy and sport. Our number is 8223 You can text us on the Dutton's text line as well. Big 10 Ford, GW Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. We'll jump into the news headlines next.
I'm Brett Buckley from Ray White Business Sales. We've been with FIVEAA now for nearly 5 years. We noticed that fairly early, probably within about 4 to 5 months, we started to see some good quality inquiries coming through that were directly from FIVEAA. From our experience, I would highly recommend advertising on radio firstly, but more importantly on FIVEAA. Not just because of the reach, not just because you can get to your target market more effectively, but purely because of the collaborative experience that you'll have in ensuring that your marketing dollar is best spent.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit fiveaa.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link.
You don't have to trek into the wilderness to experience the wild. Unspoiled nature awaits at the largest safari experience outside of Africa, right here in Adelaide. Monate Safari Park is home to many of Africa's most impressive animals. one of Australia's largest lion prides, plus giraffe herds, chimps, rhinos and meerkats roaming in open-range habitats. Spend quality time in nature, where every step is a discovery. Monarto Safari Park, the wild is calling.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at Chemist Warehouse for just $49.99 a bottle. You save over $19 a bottle at Chemist Warehouse.
Arbor Vitae.
Here at FIVEAA, we're all about supporting local. Culture your cravings with Yom, the Yogurt Factory's new range. All local ingredients and no preservatives, gelatine, artificial colours or flavours. Available at selected Foodlands. FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
17 after 6, Miley Hogan from 7 News will join us just before 7. We'll be off to the US. Tony Jones on the show in Adelaide, broadcasting for 3AW all this week as part of Gather Round. And of course, too, we've got tickets to give away thanks to McDonald's. You just need to have memorised this little ditty and be able to say it as quickly as possible.
Door beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
That's coming up not too far away. We'll put one person in the running each hour. Remember, we'll reveal the times and the leaderboard on Friday morning.
We've got to play the old ad again too at some point.
Yeah, we will.
I love that.
All right, let's jump into the news headlines then at 18 after 6. A world first from Major Stadium at tonight's Crows game. Adelaide Oval patrons were able to pay for their food and drink with cryptocurrency. Select kiosks in the Southern Stand will have the facilities to accept crypto payments. The pilot program will run throughout the Gather Round and continue across the 2024 AFL season. Carl Moen from Crypto.com says it is a game changer.
This is going to enable not only sports fans but also concert goers to be able to spend their crypto on everyday items like, pies, beer.
We love the Venn diagram. Do we have a single listener who's going to buy a pie with Bitcoin tonight?
Well, the good thing is, if you've got one Bitcoin, you can probably afford a round of beers. What's one Bitcoin worth?
60 grand or something or other, isn't it?
Is it that much?
Something like
$60,000.
No, I'd have to look. That's off the top of my
head. Is anyone going to do it? I'd noticed On The Run take Bitcoin, don't they? I think my local On The Run had a sign up saying you can pay with Bitcoin.
Actually, it's at $100,000 Australian right now. One of them. So, yeah, you certainly could get a round of drinks. Yeah.
You'd even get change from a round of beers.
You might even get change.
With a whole Bitcoin.
Do we have a single listener who's going to go to a kiosk and pay with Bitcoin? Or your cryptocurrency of choice?
Well, Bitcoin are one of the sponsors of the Adelaide Football Club. That's how this has all come about.
Well, it's crypto.com, isn't it? Is the website that's the sponsor
is that a coin or is that a...
No, that's an exchange.
Oh, like a marketplace for Bitcoin.
That's where you can trade.
One of my weird mates who's always been those people who go, I can remember in the late 80s he said to me, there's these things coming out called Macs and there's going to be a system called PageMaker. And when you use PageMaker you can draw and design newspapers online. And I'm like, yeah, right. As if while I'm feeding waxed newsprint copy through a roller and sticking it down on an electroset sheet, laying out the student newspaper at uni, and he's going, mate, you really don't need to do that anymore. I'm like, no, I'm fine here, thank you, Dave. But he said years ago, he goes, I'm going to buy one of these Bitcoins.
Oh.
And we're like, what are they?
Well played him.
Yeah, you got one.
You used to, in the early days of Bitcoin when it first started, you'd have to send off money in an envelope to a bloke in Japan who you didn't know.
You're kidding.
That's how it started.
That's like joining the Wendouree Wine Club in Clare.
Thousands of South Koreans have bid an emotional farewell to a beloved panda bound for China to join a breeding program. Video shows a truck carrying FIVEAA through the streets near Seoul as people stand on the side of the road waving flags and wiping away tears. Seriously. FIVEAA was born in the Everland Zoo in Seoul in 2020. Okay.
Has FIVEAA ever successfully, done the business?
Well, we're about to find out. FIVEAA was born of the business. Done in
so
Seoul.
he's from...
That's right.
He's from a successful...
He's from a successful...
Right.
So now he's off to sort of repay the favour.
What do they know that Wang Wang and Fooney don't know?
Well, it's a good question.
Maybe it's just too hot. Maybe it's too hot in Adelaide.
Oh, it's pretty warm in the tropical zones of China and...
Not like Adelaide, though, is it? Oh, actually, no, that's not. In summer up there, it gets pretty hot.
World leaders are demanding answers after 7 aid workers were killed in Gaza, including an Australian. Zoe Frankham was distributing food when her convoy was hit in an airstrike launched by Israeli Defence Forces. British PM Rishi Sunak says more needs to be done to protect those delivering aid to the region.
Transparent investigation into what has happened, but also a dramatic increase in the amount of aid getting into Gaza, removing the barriers, but also closer work with aid agencies to make sure things like this don't happen again.
Safety issues are forcing Honda to recall over 52,000 cars. 9 models, including the Civic, Jazz and Odyssey, made between 2017 and 2020, are at risk of fuel pump issues, and it may cause the engine to stall while driving.
That sounds no good.
No, you don't want that to happen. I'm no expert. Okay, 13.3 degrees outside in the city at the moment. 22 is the expected top today. Pretty reasonable old day today. Not as good as tomorrow. 24 and sunny for Friday. 25 partly cloudy on Saturday. 23 cloudy on Sunday. And then the showers come Monday. We might get up to 6 mils on Monday. Can't remember that much being forecast in the last couple of months. 21 the expected top. Then a cool 19 top for Tuesday. But I tell you what, 22, 24, 25, 23, you couldn't get better footy weather for the next 4 days.
Couldn't get better weather for going to something like the Norwood Food and Wine Festival as well. We're going to play a bit of Peter Malinauskas from last night, the Premier, looking like he was really enjoying himself. He did a live cross from the official AFL cocktail party, hosted by the AFL, paid for by the AFL, down at Glenelg. To celebrate the start of Gather Round. This was a big invite-only event that all of Adelaide's hoi polloi attended. A lot of the footy stars, everyone who's here from Fox Footy and Channel 9, Channel 7, all the execs were there. Now, people who are familiar with the Adelaide University Blacks Football Club will have loved these comments by the Premier.
Last year we only had 4 or 5 months to put this together, whereas this year we've had a longer run up. So last year 32% of all the tickets sold, and everything was sold out, went to interstate visitors, whereas this year that's up to 38%. So everything's on a upward trajectory for all the things that matter to South Australia, and we've got a lot of people to thank for that, none more than Bob Neal.
What do you think it means to the... Yeah.
Now that is the ultimate inside joke. You heard that? I presume there were blokes in the crowd at watching the front bar who played for the Blacks or in on the joke. But that's such a cult thing, and it's such a little telling South Australian moment that even the Premier of the state is up for inserting a Bob Neal reference into
Well, for our listeners that didn't play to the Blacks, for the Blacks, what's the Bob Neal reference?
Well, Bob Neal, right? Bob Neal was just this really likeable, quite unassuming journeyman footballer. Played more than 200 games for the Blacks, and he's still alive. And apparently he's just like one of the world's nicest blokes. Wasn't like the greatest footballer, wasn't the worst footballer. But if the club officially decided about 25 years ago to designate him as the club's official living club legend. And what's happened is since then, like, blokes who played for the Blacks at Adelaide Uni, when they go on, like, their trip of a lifetime together to, cricket tours in the Ashes in England or whatever, you often see Bob Neal signs being held up at Lord's. Tommy's shaking his head in agreement here. There've been people unfurled them at the Eiffel Tower. There's been Bob Neal signs, and it's like all footy clubs have got their little quirks, and that is the Bob Neal phenomenon is the one that belongs to the Blacks.
Tom Wren is in the FIVEAA Breakfast Studio. Enjoy 10-year warranty and cap price servicing at Agostina Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostina Mitsubishi there at Mawson Lakes. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yeah, that is a tradition at Uni. Blakes, having had a few mates that have played out there, he is a legend, and they sing songs about him and carry on and
hold your bowlies.
Hold your bowlies. I think he played for the Scum. I think he was, probably at the lower end of the sporting ability. Not that I can talk, but yeah, he's revered there.
Which is the Premier's team.
Exactly. And speaking of, I saw him last night, and look, I know it's, people at home are probably like, oh, good on you for going to a, dinner with some of the heavies or whatever.
Oh, were you at the cocktail thing?
Yeah, last night, and look, it was a great event, and it really does feel like, there is a lot of genuine excitement. The Premier was there, and Zoe Bettison, congratulations for them for putting on a great event. I mean, they got everyone, in the room. I don't know. I was basically, just hiding in the corner. But, they had the heavies there, all the AFL executive, all the league CEOs. It was a big night. And it does feel genuine that, Gather Round is here now. The Premier spoke beautifully. It was a really good show. So bring it on. It's going to be massive tonight, starting with the Crows and Melbourne. And speaking of that, it's 5 changes for Adelaide. And
massive.
You look at them and 2 of them forced. Wayne Miller and also Lockie Murphy out. A few players dropped as well. So James Borlase, Luke Pedlar, who I think most people are pretty big fans of Luke Pedlar, but it feels like he needs some confidence and perhaps a stint back in the SANFL to find the footy. But I'd like to see him used a bit differently when
maybe
he does
played in
return.
his natural position. That might help.
Well, that's it, in the guts. Play a bit more in the midfield.
You draft a bloke in the top 10. What was he, 11, 12, something in that range?
Yep.
To be a midfielder, then drop him because he's stuck playing as a half forward, playing on as a stopper on Tom Stewart the other week. I mean, good luck.
It's a bad week for these guys to get dropped as well, for them, because there's no path back to the AFL via the SANFL this weekend, because there's no SANFL, there's a state game.
And Lockie Scholl dropped as well, and then, we get to see Luke Nankervis. I think most people have been calling that for probably a couple of weeks.
He's been best on for the Crows throughout all the trial games, most certainly. Billy Dowling was probably best on last game, but Nankervis has looked terrific.
And he's the one that's a bit stiff. If you said they made 5 changes, I'd be like, okay, well, he's playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
But he's not. So, look, 5 changes is a lot, and Melbourne bring back Stephen May, who, strengthens them up even further. So
he's Adelaide's worst nightmare as well, kicking to May and Lever. The Crows' kryptonite so far this season has been kicking it down the throats of tall marking defenders from the other side. So he'll be delighted to come back for this one, Stephen May, I reckon.
Oh, it's going to be a tough ask. Yes, they can still win, of course they can, but they're going to have to find a way. The system, they're going to have to flick the switch, find a way to get it done. Boys, what do you think? A 3rd team in SA? A 20th licence, if it went to Norwood, would you be happy?
No, Norwood. No.
Can't happen?
Norwood do not speak for South Australia any more than Port Adelaide would have as the first.
Yeah, but we're beyond clubs picking a South Australian team, aren't we? Like the next one would be just a SANFL team, wouldn't it? What would you do? So what would you call them?
Not enough people barrack for any sides in the SANFL for it to succeed. We'll be creating our own Gold Coast.
But if the question is,
franchise.
what's the 3rd team? Or you're saying just there should never be a 3rd South Australian team?
I don't think there should be.
Yeah, okay.
And it certainly shouldn't be an SANFL team. I wouldn't want, as a Sturt supporter, I wouldn't want to see Sturt try to enter the comp and go through the embarrassment of having the lowest attendances of any club in the AFL. Because the numbers tell you that's what would happen. Norwood, it's typical Norwood, how good are we going, to think that it's even a logical and sensible idea. It's a stupid idea. And it shouldn't happen.
There's a bit of talk. I think there's no doubt the AFL would want an even number of sides, to avoid the bye. It's whether or not you go back
I think population-wise, we'd have a tough argument to make.
Yeah.
Well, we're losing federal electorates every 4 years.
Yeah. That said, we'd have the most rabid group of football supporters outside the country. So population needs to be looked at through that lens. Yeah, I think it's a hard one to get your head around. That said, I don't think you can just transpose a SANFL crowd and say that's what the AFL. You'll pick up fair weathers. You'll pick up people at the other clubs who kind of disenfranchise.
Jump on.
That always happens with new teams in footy mad areas. But yeah, it's tough to see, I reckon.
If the numbers sustained, the next team should be in the NT.
NT, Canberra, something like that.
Yeah, Canberra maybe.
Yeah.
NT, oh God! Imagine having to watch a game in the slip and slide every 2 weeks. That'd be miserable.
You never win up there either.
Oh no, that'd be shocking. Good on you, Reddy.
Good on you, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
World leaders are demanding answers after 7 aid workers were killed in Gaza, including an Australian. Zomi Franken was distributing food when a convoy was hit in an airstrike launched by the Israel Defense Forces. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the attack was unintentional and is a product of war. British PM Rishi Sunak says the more needs to be done to protect those delivering aid to the region.
Investigation into what has happened, but also a dramatic increase in the amount of aid getting into Gaza, removing the barriers, but also closer work with aid agencies to make sure things like this don't happen again.
Australians are forecast to pay near record amounts of tax this financial year. The Centre for Independent Studies says at least 125 different taxes are being levied. All levels of government are being urged to cut their spending to reduce the burden on Australians. Gather Round has become an instant favourite on the footy calendar, and fans are converging on Adelaide for 9 AFL games over the next 4 days. The majority will be played at Adelaide Oval starting tonight with the Crows versus Melbourne. The parade at Norwood will also host 2 games, as will Mount Barker. Anna Moller from the Hotels Association says there are lots of options when it comes to finding somewhere to stay.
We're very lucky that we have a huge breadth of accommodation in the state. You know, you think of, the Sofotels and the Hilton and that kind of thing, but there's then also, the Discovery Parks. So you've got the cabins and the caravan parks as well, and then you've got the mid-range hotels. There'll be some people that come across as well that stay in Airbnb.
Health experts are raising concerns about the lack of funding to prevent obesity and promote healthy lifestyles. A study found less than 1% of the healthcare budget in the 9 years to 2022 went to obesity prevention. Australia has one of the highest rates of obesity in the world. Deakin University lead author Michelle Tran says greater investment is needed.
Investment into things to help Australians to lead healthier lives have been relatively low compared to the high rate of overweight and obesity we have.
Farmers could be grappling with decades-long mega droughts if efforts to transition to renewable energy sources aren't ramped up. Researchers at the Australian National University have used climate modelling to simulate droughts which occurred in the past millennium and determine how they might change in the future. Co-author Dr. Dez Foster says the findings paint a worrying picture.
Thinking about a 20-year mega drought, we could get those once every 150 years, which means we'd be due for one soon, or closer to once every 1,000 years, which means there's less chance. No matter what, I think it's worth thinking about the possibility of these occurring and being prepared.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. We're going to start with a little bit of football news first, and we'll get to it now. Adelaide will be pushing for its first win of the season in tonight's Gather Round opener. That's against Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Coach Matthew Nick says they've been here before, and he's confident they have a group that can get the job done. Have made 5 changes, while Demons defender Stephen May has been named to return from a rib injury. Well, Port meantime will release its side tonight ahead of tomorrow night's big clash against Essendon, and they're set to make at least one change, with midfielder Jason Horne-Francis set to return from a hamstring injury, while veteran Ollie Wines will drop out with the very same issue. Plenty of English Premier League action on this morning. Manchester City and Aston Villa, they're close to half-time in their clash. City hit the front after just 10 minutes, but Villa hit back shortly after. However, City has just scored again, and it's now 2-1 close to half-time. And it's well into the second half in other matches this morning. Arsenal now 2-0 up against Luton, while it's still 0-0 between Brentford and Brighton. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now the 5AA forecast.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny and 22 today. Tomorrow sunny 24. Saturday partly cloudy 25. Sunday cloudy 23. Right now it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
25 minutes to 7, police and weather coming up this half hour. Also, we're off to the US. We'll be chatting with Miley Hogan stateside. But first, we want to take you back in time to jog your memory. What do they call it in sport? Muscle memory. I don't know if muscle memory extends to...
Is that like race memory? Or what's the term? Well, like animals can just instinctively do
Yeah,
things.
yeah, your muscle memory, you do something enough, and years later you go and do it again, and suddenly you've still got all those skills there. A bit like saying this.
If you can say 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun in 4 seconds, you can win a free cup of Coke. It's that simple. Just say
It's 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
in 4 seconds and you can win a free cup of Coke. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
It's 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Say it in 4 seconds and win a free cup of Coke at McDonald's.
In the 80s, if you could say it in 4 seconds, you got a cup of Coke. Right here in 2024 on 5AA Breakfast, you can say it as faster than anyone else who calls in. We're going to send you off to a VIP experience for Gather Round's Friday night fixture, Port Adelaide, Essendon at Adelaide Oval, which includes a double pass to the game, a zipline experience across the Torrens, and a exclusive pre-game viewing experience by the boundary line during the team's warm-ups. You just need to say that phrase faster than anyone else who competes. There'll be about 8 or 9 people in the running at the end, and I can tell you, saying it in under 4 seconds won't be quick enough. I had someone come up to me yesterday and say they timed themselves doing it in 2.5 seconds. If you can do
2.5?
Yeah, which I'm highly sceptical of. Right, I'll tell you this much, because we're not going to reveal the times yet. But the leading contender from yesterday did it well under 4 seconds.
And that clearly wasn't me.
Faster than you. It was significantly faster than you. So to give you,
I think I can do better. I phoned that one in a bit, didn't I? In hindsight,
8-2-2-3. No,
it was like a pace setter.
But this is why it's
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, onion. No, hang on, I got it wrong. There's no onion in it, is there?
No. Oh yeah, cheese, pickles, onions.
Yeah, I got it in the wrong order though.
Yeah.
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
See, that would have been good.
That was better than the one I did.
A bit like your example of Roger Bannister yesterday. The 4-minute mile was the impossible mark. And then when he ran it, I think 3 people ran it within the next year. So once people think it's possible and the human body's capable of it, you suddenly strive for new heights. Anyway, get calling now.
You'd be good at it.
822-300-555. 822-300-555. Get calling now. I don't have the muscle memory.
No, but you're the eloquent one, Will. You're the newsreader. I'm not. You're the one who's constantly being, bombarded with requests to host things.
Yeah,
not me.
Not for my speed.
Well, that's just for your dashing good looks, I guess.
I think it's actually because I'm a little slow in talking. I'm a little bit slow.
That's right. And you don't have an agent. Yeah, I can do that for $50. Which is going right.
Get calling now. 822-300-555 is the number. You need to say it as quickly as possible. The winner will be revealed on Friday morning. Our first caller through this morning is Darren from Prospect. Morning, Darren.
Darren.
You there, Darren?
Yep. Can you hear me?
We've got you loud and clear.
We got you, mate.
Did you say this back in the day, Darren? Ever get yourself a free Coke?
I did, and I also can say the Choosy Cheese Choosers one.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. Can you give us a bit of that?
Choosy Cheese Choosers. Always choose cheeseburgers on your cheeseburgers at McDonald's.
Did you get a cheeseburger for that? Did you?
You get a poster, mate, a cricket poster.
Oh my goodness! Feels like you've gone pro in the fast talking recitation business, Darren.
It is not an Olympic sport.
Exactly right.
I mean, breakdancing is. This could be tongue twisters.
When you start, we start the clock, Darren. So take it away.
2 beef patty, special lettuce, cheese, pickled onions on sesame seed bun.
That was good. That was good.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Did we miss one?
Well, was it decipherable? Would be the only thing I would ask. We will put it to the judges, that one, because it felt quick. But did we hear them all?
I think that one might be under review.
That one's under review.
We've sent it upstairs.
All right. Well, let's go to the tape on that one.
Yeah, the elbow's up.
Maybe our listeners.
Mate, we're being fastidious.
Computer Sam out there is going to run the tape over it, and we'll we'll play it, and let's get listeners to judge whether they think it passes muster.
Yeah.
Could you make out all the ingredients?
Because it has to be intelligible.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry to be so pedantic, mate.
No, that's good, Darren. No, it's all right. We get to the edges. You get to the fringes in a competition like this now.
Well, Darren he's in the mix with an asterisk.
Exactly right.
So do we need to do a backup?
No, we won't do a backup. We're just pending a review.
Okay.
Sam's
pending.
Sam's having a look. It's like the Marshall's review in the Formula One, where you sit around after the race and say, so who actually came sixth? I don't know. We got to wait a little while. Let's check traffic in the meantime. Police and weather are coming up. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection. Stay sun smart. Download the SunSmart app.
Thanks, Will, and good morning, David. Burst water main to look out for this morning at Melrose Park, South Road near Raglan Avenue. You've got speeds at 40 there. One lane's closed, but it is heading outbound, so no great delays. Parahuas West reports of a crash on Main North Road at Kester's Road. Slow for works at Cowandilla, Marion Road near South Honourable Bramber Drive, and getting busy at Pennington, Addison Road near Hodgman Road. You find early morning cameras today, Critton Road, Findon, and Dalkeith Road at Munno Para Downs. Amart's Easter sale has been extended. Absolutely everything is on sale with 10 to 60% off all furniture store-wide. Stores are open late tonight, so hurry into Amart. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
There's a lot to love about learning just about anything with WEA. Real-time, face-to-face learning with like-minded people. WEA has 22 language courses on offer and over 80 cooking and wine appreciation courses. Visit wea-sa.com.au.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
If you're thinking of building or you're renovating your kitchen, you've got a lot of choices to make. But the first choice you should make should be Smeg. We have an amazing Smeg showroom right here in Adelaide. Deputy Distributors is in Dudley Park, and inside you'll find the full Smeg range on display.
You don't need to tell me twice, Will, because
You've done this.
I'm the proud owner of a new Smeg oven. It arrived, and Jared, the electrician, installed it last week. I made some schnitties in it last night, popped them under the griller. It's an absolute pleasure to cook with. And look, if you want to know, if you want to be full bottle on how to not just select, but also to use a Smeg oven, you've got to get into the Deputy Distributors display room. It's fantastic. The range is amazing. Ovens, cooktops, dishwashers, fridges, wine cellars, kettles, toasters. Smeg seamlessly pairs performance with architectural design. And look, I mentioned the cooking demos. They're great. You can really taste the difference with Smeg. Smeg's been proudly made in Italy since 1948. Their colour, design and technology is world famous.
Smeg, technology with style. Visit the Smeg showroom today at Deputy Distributors, Harrison Road, Dudley Park.
How awesome! Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has plenty of Tiguans and Amaroks in stock. Tiguan Allspace is a 7-seater with plenty of room and plenty of smarts, featuring auto park, adaptive cruise control and lane assist. And the latest generation Amarok has a big 1-ton payload and 3.5-ton towing capacity. But inside, you'll get all the comforts of a luxury vehicle. There's plenty of stock that must go. Hurry in for a deal. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city. There's a lot to love about learning just about anything with WEA. Real-time, face-to-face learning with like-minded people. Learn about subdividing land and property development or gardening in a changing climate. Visit wea-sa.com.au. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
16 to 7, Stewart's inquiry complete. We had Darren's entry for the Macca's ticket competition. If you missed it, have a listen.
Two beef patty specials, let's choose pickle ends on sesame bun.
Now, at the time we flagged it and said that's a bit odd, I got some grief from Rob on the text line. I think this is excellent on the Duttons text line. Rob says, good grief. Sending Darren's entry to the 5AA arc is what Will's saying to the ump. I think it's a goal, but just need to check it wasn't touched on the line. Karen says, I didn't hear Darren say sauce. Our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd, was very quick. He said, sorry, Darren. The steward's inquiry says Darren, his entry is ineligible. It was quick, but...
It was too quick.
It was too quick.
Sauce. You can't make the time by dropping words.
Exactly right.
And they're not really our rules. They were McDonald's rules when it started.
Take it up with Ronald.
If you stood there saying 2 beef patties, no, they've got to be 2 all beef patties.
Exactly.
You can't drop words.
So we've got someone else to put in the running. That person's Michael, who's on the line now. Michael, controversy for the very first time in the Macca's ticket competition. It's a bit. I feel a bit mean to you because you've been iced on the line, sitting there ready to go. How are you feeling?
Oh, that's all good.
You're good? All right. You're saying as cool as a cucumber. So
very laid back.
Michael, it needs to be understandable. All the words need to be there, but it needs to be fast. We start the clock when you start saying it.
2 big patty special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and on sesame seed bun.
I think that counts.
Yeah.
Happy with that.
You're in, mate.
Happy
You're
with
in.
that, Michael. That felt good.
Yeah,
it felt good.
Felt like a little trip at the end, but
there was a tenth of a second he may have lost in the middle summer, I think. And that's what this is going to come down to. Believe us, we're talking tenths of seconds.
Yeah, absolute nail biter. It's going to be
good work. We'll reveal all on Friday morning ahead of that big clash. In the meantime, let's head to the Weather Bureau. Hannah Marsh is on duty there this morning. Hannah, it looks like a perfect 4 days for footy coming up.
Yeah, we've got a good one coming up. We've got, starting off with today, we've had a minimum of 12.5 degrees, heading for a maximum of 13.7. We're heading for a maximum of 22 degrees today. Mostly sunny. There is a bit of cloud around at the moment, particularly about those southern coasts, but that is expected to clear to a mostly sunny day. And as we mentioned, not too bad a weekend for footy. We're looking at mid-20 sort of numbers, so 24 for Friday, 25 on Saturday and 23 on Sunday. Minimum temperatures a little bit cooler, around that 11 to 13 degree mark. And the only spanner in the works is a slight chance of a shower, mainly in the afternoon and evening on Sunday. But other than that, for the weekend, we're looking at generally sunny conditions.
Perfect. Absolutely sensational
Like
stuff, Hannah. You were the bringer of good news. Thank you.
Mother Nature has done her part for Gather Round. Let's head to Sapole. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan joins us. Jen, there was a pursuit in the western suburbs.
Yes, there was. Good morning. It was just about 12:15 this morning. Police spotted a Hyundai SUV on Main North Road at Prospect. Now, checks on the registration showed that the owner was wanted in relation to outstanding traffic matters, and police directed the driver to stop. However, he refused, and the car was pursued onto Galway Avenue, where it was successfully spiked. It came to a stop on Hepburn Street at Broadview, and the driver attempted to run from the vehicle but was swiftly arrested. He is a 32-year-old man from Munapara. He's been charged with various traffic offences, including dangerous driving to escape police pursuit and disqualified driving, and he's going to court this morning.
Well, sucked into him, 32 years old. Grown man carrying on like such a half-wit. What a loser. Jen, also a hit-and-run crash in Salisbury last night.
Yes, there was, and this was about 9:30. Police were called to Commercial Road near to Pioneer Park after a man was struck by a car, and the driver allegedly failed to stop. After the crash, the 25-year-old man has sustained some serious leg injuries, and he's been taken to hospital for treatment. Now, we suspect the vehicle involved to be a maroon-coloured Mazda sedan, and we're asking for that driver to please come forward. So anybody who witnessed the crash or was driving through the area at the time or has dashcam footage, please contact Crime Stoppers 1800 333 000.
Thank you for that, Jen. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan there from Sapole.
Now, an interesting tidbit has emerged in talking with Michael off the air, who was our last entrance in the Macca's competition for the VIP experience for Gather Round. Got in a pretty quick time a moment ago too. He knows a little bit about the ditty because people said it to him once upon a time. Michael, you were working at Macca's when this campaign ran. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It was at the Westlake store where they used to have the big DC night, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the first McDonald's in SA, wasn't it, Michael?
I think it was. I think it was owned by a guy called Ross Halliday. I can't recall exactly, but yeah, it was interesting because there was no drive-through back then.
Mm. Yeah, well, there were no drive-throughs anywhere for a long time.
What was the success rate, Michael, of people saying it in under 4 seconds?
Oh, I reckon 99% of the time the managers just used to give it to the people.
Yeah. Does that mean we should have given it to Darren?
Well, I think you should have given it to me as well.
So, mate, was it your first job out of school, or were you still at school when you were working there?
Yeah, it was. It was the first job. I went to Royal Park High, and then Mum and Dad used to drop me off each night, and I think I was home by about 11 o'clock each night.
Royal Park High? Now, that's not there anymore, is it?
No. It got changed to Westlake, so I think it was a little bit too rough. So no.
Yeah, sometimes they change the name to try to throw people off the scent, like good old Dawes Road High had a bit of a rebrand. Some of them they just knocked down, like Marion High, Vermont High from memory.
Well, Westlake's High sounded a little bit better than Royal Park.
Whenever I hear the words Royal Park, I just think of Royal Park Salvage.
Great company,
Yeah,
great
you
local
see
business.
They specialise in knocking down houses.
Exactly right. Good on you, Michael. Michael, not only a contestant, but previous judge when the competition was first run at McDonald's around the country. Some good Dutton's texts coming through. This is interesting. Mick's already thinking outside the box. He says, lads, for next year's gather round, we should move the King's Birthday public holiday to the Friday and have a twilight game at Glenelg with a seafood festival down Jetty Road and kids footy on the beach with fireworks at 9 p.m. There's an idea.
I say, hang on, have a public holiday for gather round, for the start of gather round.
Call it the King's Birthday or something.
Yeah, or move the March one. But
I like the way the March one is.
Yeah.
That feels right.
Why don't we just have a whole new one?
Yeah. Gather round,
gather round holiday.
The Vics did it with Grand Final Friday, didn't they?
There's a scenario that would send a lot of people completely spare. On the cusp of the next election, Peter Malinauskas announces that we've got gather round for another 4 years, plus we're having a new gather round public holiday.
Would be interesting to test the popularity of the whole concept. Samir from Dernancourt has also texted in, says the AFL's concerned about head-eye injuries and concussion, and then we see ex-AFL players in a boxing ring trying to knock each other's heads off. Was this endorsed by the AFL? Samir, it was most certainly not, and they have been at pains to say we had nothing to do with this. They happened to be ex-AFL players. They weren't at an AFL event. So no, the AFL didn't have anything to do with it.
I think any concussion experts, though, would have been heartened to watch Nathan Brown and Kane Corns fighting, and I use the word fighting in
I didn't see any of it.
commas
Did you
each
see
other.
some of it?
Yeah, my daughter's boyfriend did the pay-per-view thing, and we ripped it off. We were watching it on FaceTime. They FaceTimed us while they were watching it.
Yeah.
So watching it last night on Jim's phone.
Illegal stream. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. But cable guy, the fight. You've never seen two blokes pussyfooting around more than they were. It was.
Nathan Brown won. Your tip was right in the end.
Yeah, he threw a lot more punches. I don't think Kane landed a punch. He looks super fit.
Yeah,
but looking super
probably
fit.
focus more on the boxing. Than
Yeah, the
just
actual hitting
fitness.
the person.
Yeah, that's at least half of the equation.
That's right.
Let's head to the US. Miley Hogan for 7 News is there and has the latest out of the White House. Miley, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Miley, Australia's response to this absolute outrage, the utterly inept killing of these 7 aid workers, one of them being an Australian. Joe Biden's comments, this is about as strong as he's got too in terms of Israel's conduct of the response to the October 7 atrocities.
Yeah, look, this is certainly some of the strongest criticism we've seen from Joe Biden against his ally over in Israel. It's a very strongly worded statement. It's blunt, expressing his outrage over the deaths of these 7 aid workers. He also acknowledges that this is not a standalone incident. An estimated 200 aid workers have now been killed in this conflict, but when it comes to the 7 that were killed in this airstrike, including the Australian Zombie Frankham, the US says that it is pushing for a full investigation, and it wants that investigation to be swift. Joe Biden says that he wants it to bring accountability and that the findings must be made public. Now, part of his statement, I'll read it out to you because you can see here that his language has sharpened much more than it has been in the past. And he says, Israel has not done enough to protect aid workers trying to deliver desperately needed help to civilians. Incidents like yesterday's simply should not happen. Israel has also not done enough to protect civilians. So that statement there from the US president really does highlight the growing tension and the distance between Joe Biden and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Miley.
Thanks, Miley.
Miley Hogan for 7 News in the United States on that. The Israelis would need to tread with caution when it comes to the US support because everything they do in that region at the moment happens under the blanket of the quite overt support of the United States. There is a US carrier group in the region making sure nothing gets too out of hand. They're starting to sound fed up, the Americans.
Yeah.
They're starting to sound fed up, and they've been trying to broker a peace deal behind the scenes for a while now. And I think these things are all funneling into each other.
Well, how do you keep Egypt in the tent? How do you keep the Saudis in the tent in the long term? Like, there's a lot of people just get to the point where they go, hang on a minute, stuff this for a joke. And I got to say, like, my instinctive response to October 7 in the immediate aftermath of it was to go, Israel, because I still think what happened was an absolute outrage. An absolute outrage. And, I think that some of the Palestinian people were, in a way, responsible for what happened since because of their long-standing support for Hamas and the fact that you got Hamas hiding in tunnels, under schools and hospitals and all of that. So Israel had to try to find Hamas. But the longer it's gone on...
It's not a blank check, though, is it?
It is not a blank check, and it looks like Netanyahu, who is a super right-wing bloke, has just acted like, I don't care what anyone thinks. And it looks like he doesn't care about Palestinian civilians. And he certainly doesn't care about aid workers. All these sham crocodile tears after the event. It's a massive backside covering exercise.
Let's head out on the road here in Adelaide, because that's where we find Jade Robran, who's been driven around by the excellent people at Dutton's Volkswagen and her Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace. Morning to you, Jade.
Good morning. A little bit of chaos on our roads this morning. I'm standing out the front of Castle Plaza here on South Road, a corner of Raglan Terrace, where a burst water main has opened up. Now, about an hour ago, emergency services got the call. They've been able to stop the water flow. A lot of sand on the road. One lane southbound is closed. But what's interesting here is that the footpath has pretty much all been ripped up. So that means that they are going to be on the scene working to make it the area nice and safe for most of the day. Now, obviously, transport authorities want this fixed by peak tonight. The workers are on their way to start fixing it, but they will be up against the clock. So potentially peak hour heading home tonight might be absolutely chaotic, because you can see, I've taken some vision, it'll be on the Foodland live stream. You can see that it's just pretty much just ripped up, like peeled up like a tin of tuna. It's just very unsafe around here. At the moment, the traffic isn't too bad. On the way here, I got stuck idling for about 12 minutes. We are still early days, a few minutes before 7 o'clock, but as the trucks start heading south on South Road, do expect delays. If you can take an alternative route, please do so. So that is on the corner of Raglan Avenue, out the front of Castle Plaza, Bridgestone Tyres and ARB 4x4 accessories. In that little pocket here, one lane has been closed to this burst water main.
Well, Jade, I've got to say, everyone who knows that stretch of road, that's already the Bermuda Triangle of South Road. You can go down there to go to Castle Plaza any time of the day, daylight hours, and just get stuck in a traffic snarl. So who knows how bad it's potentially going to be later.
Good description, Jade had, of it peeling open like a can of tuna. It's amazing the force of water, what it can do to a road. That's paved road and bitumen that has been folded back. It's quite remarkable. Hopefully they get that one fixed up as soon as possible.
Jade really is a one-woman news machine.
Completely.
Because that's all her own footage.
Yeah, it's sensational. Self-contained. Ben Jordan on the Dutton's text line has some a bit of background on Mick's idea for another public holiday. He says we shouldn't feel too bad about adding a public holiday. Nepal leads the way around the world with 35 public holidays annually.
Seriously?
35. He said, so there's no harm in adding one more to our current 10.
So 35 public holidays, that's like about 3 a month.
Almost one a week.
How good is that?
Well, well done, Nepal.
Yeah.
Well,
no wonder they're all so laid back.
Yeah, exactly right. They've got the right view of life, work-life balance. Thank you, Ben. So we're only at 10. Should we add one? Mick's idea for Gather Round, one on Friday. What do you think, folks? 8223 text us on the Dutton's text line. We'll have our news wrap next.
Thousands upon thousands of sheds, trailers, retaining walls, fences, DIY jobs and commercial projects. Over the last 40 years, Southern Steel Supplies has been there, supporting big industry and the little guy, with a list of jobs as long as your arm. When it comes to steel, there's nothing we can't help you with. Any size, any shape, any length. Delivered to just about anywhere in SA. southernsteelsupplies.com.au, the South Australian Steel Company.
The new gen Mitsubishi Triton has landed. Strong, muscular styling. A sleeker, bigger interior with 9-inch touchscreen audio. 150 kilowatts of raw power from a 2.4-litre bi-turbo diesel. And a restless sense of adventure. The wild new-gen Mitsubishi Triton is out there. Visit your local Mitsubishi Motors dealership to book a test drive today. Nothing can contain, tame or frighten a Mitsubishi Triton.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Gather Round officially kicks off today. Adelaide is hosting 9 games across 4 days. Tonight's opener is the Crows versus Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Some interstate and overseas visitors have already arrived, but today we'll welcome many more. Anna Moeller from the Hotels Association says the few rooms left in the city won't come cheap.
It's supply and demand, so it's similar to if you think Melbourne on Melbourne Cup weekend. The same thing happens there. So the prices go up as the occupancy rates go up, and of course if the hotels are charging too much, then they're simply not going to book out their rooms. So it really is driven by demand.
Meantime, Premier Peter Malinauskas is talking up the second AFL Gather Round, saying it's going to the next level this time round.
This time last year there had been a 4 or 5 month run up in the lead up to the Gather Round, but this year we've had a full 12-month run up, and I think that only builds the anticipation, but more than that I think it sets the stage for a really well organised event throughout the course of the weekend.
Police are investigating a hit run at Salisbury last night. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says a man was hit by a car on Commercial Road near Pioneer Park.
The 25-year-old man has sustained some serious leg injuries and he's been taken to hospital for treatment. Now, we suspect the vehicle involved to be a maroon-coloured Mazda sedan, and we're asking for that driver to please come forward. So anybody who witnessed the crash or was driving through the area at the time or has dashcam footage, please contact Crime Stoppers.
Households and small businesses could receive more relief on power bills in the upcoming budget. The Prime Minister is expected to use a speech today to signal the cost of electricity will come down for some families. He's expected to extend the Energy Bill Relief Fund, which was introduced 2 years ago. All levels of government are being urged to consider cutting their spending in a bid to reduce the tax burden on Australians. New analysis from the Centre for Independent Studies shows tax revenue for this financial year will be close to an all-time high. Senior Fellow Robert Carling says a reduction in government programs would allow them to lower taxes.
Let's face it, government does a great deal these days. Does it need to do all of those things or concentrate on doing fewer things more effectively?
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
And good morning, Tom Redden.
Very good morning to you as well, Graham. We're going to start with footy. Jack Viney has been isolated from the Demons squad due to illness as the team prepares for tonight's Gather Round opener against the Crows here in Adelaide. Melbourne has spent the past week in South Australia after last week's match against the Power. Meantime, defender Stephen May has been named to return from a rib injury. Teammate Alex Neil-Bullen says he's raring to go.
Stevie 5 days ago was giving that same indication. It's something that our footy club prides our players on. If you take the field, you've got to be ready to go and give a great contest, and Big Maisie will no doubt do that.
The Crows have made 5 changes to their side for tonight's clash, with Sam Berry, Luke Nankervis, Jordan Butts, Braden Cook and Paddy Parnell back in the side. Let's go to soccer, and Arsenal's back on top of the English Premier League table following a 2-0 win at home against Luton. The Gunners are a point clear of Liverpool, but Manchester City could be about to join Arsenal on points, currently leading Aston Villa 2-1 with about half hour to play. The home side hitting the front for a second time deep in the first half.
It's Foden! Oh, it's magnificent! And in first half stoppage time, Manchester City restore their advantage.
Audio there thanks to Optus. One other game with Brentford and Brighton playing out a 0-0 draw. Briefly elsewhere, Australian boxer Jackson England has been crowned the new WBO Global Super Featherweight Champion after defeating American Jamel Herring by split decision here in Adelaide. Rory McIlroy has turned to Tiger Woods' former coach Butch Harmon ahead of the US Masters next week. McIlroy will become just the 6th player to win all 4 of golf's majors. That's if he can claim the green jacket at Augusta. And American surfers Cole Hushmand and Caitlin Simmers have taken out the Bells Beach Pro titles. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there at Melrose Park, a boost water main to look out for. South Road near Raglan Avenue. Got speeds at 40, the lane closed. It's heading outbound, so not proving any great driver at the moment. Parahua's west, a crash there. Main North Road at Kester's Road. Works at Cowandilla, Marion Road near Sir Donald Bradford Drive, speeds at 40, and you'll find the ever-pesky camera out early this morning. Brooker Terrace, Richmond, and got another one to Eastern Parade at Gilman. Head into IGA for 50% off the Continental range, like cup of soup selected varieties, just $1.40. Ends April 9. Excludes low prices, everyday range. Participating stores only excludes Foodland. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA Gather Round forecast.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny today, 22. Tomorrow, sunny, 24. Saturday, partly cloudy, 25. And Sunday, cloudy, 23. Right now in Adelaide, it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, good morning to you if you're joining us for the very first time on this Thursday, the 4th of April. We've put one more contender into the ring for our Macca's competition for the VIP experience Friday night. Bit of controversy, though, in that first hour. There was a steward's inquiry into Darren, the first entrant, who swallowed the word sauce in saying the magical combination of words that once led to you getting a free cup of Coke at Macca's, but could, on this day, lead to you getting along to Gather Round. We'll have another chance to win this hour, another chance to win the running. You've got to be the fastest once everyone has been entered into the competition, and that will secure your passage to the ultimate VIP experience on Friday night. Someone who's not excited is Matt Abraham. I don't know that. I haven't spoken about Gather Round, but just based on form, that'd be my best guess. So we're going to talk to him after 7:30 today. We'll dissect the spin of the last week. Dan Houston's going to join us as well a little bit later in the morning on 5AA.
See, it's an important point, and we know that a lot of our listeners, and you know, when we talk about Gather Round, we do always ask about cost and priorities, and you know how much money's being used, and how the government's line is always, well, you know, governments can walk and chew gum at the same time. 2 years on, with the big ramping promise, given the figures that came out the other day, our response to that would be, well, can they? Are we doing too much chewing gum and not enough walking?
That's an excellent question.
All that and more will be teased out with Matt after 7:30.
Mick texted us on the Duttons text line. He's really started a conversation here. His idea was for a Friday public holiday into Gather Round. Not adding a public holiday. He suggested moving the King's birthday to the Friday of Gather Round.
We suggested adding one.
We suggested adding one, of course. He suggested moving it to Friday. Lots of feedback to that coming through, including from Neil in Anglevale. Morning to you, Neil.
Yeah, good morning. My only point would be it'd be detrimental to have a holiday with all the visitors in town because the shops can't open.
Yeah, good point. People have made that observation, Neil. It's a good one. Like Rick in Gawler, who says a public holiday on Friday of Gather Round would mean everything would be shut when we have a record number of interstate visitors. Plus, the Friday night game after work becomes redundant.
Yeah.
All reasonable thoughts.
Yeah, they are. They are. Well, you know, there's no such thing as a bad idea.
No, I don't mind the... well, Sue in Christie's Beach is a big fan of it. Agree, let's swap it for the Adelaide Cup holiday. Thank you, Sue. Basil says, public holiday, imagine all interstate people coming for footy on a holiday and all the shops are closed. It wouldn't be a good look, especially with the excessive penalty rates. Thank you for that. So keep the feedback coming in, 82230000, text us on the Duttons text line. Tell you what wouldn't be a good look either. That's if people are trying to jump on a train to get to a Gather Round fixture this weekend and they can't because there's some strike action going on. It sounds like it's going to be relatively low level, but
there's no clarity around exactly what.
We don't know what the level of disruption is going to be. Essentially, members of the Rail, Tram and Bus Union are in the midst of an industrial fight at the moment for better pay and conditions. And what they're going to say they're going to do is refuse to wear uniforms and work overtime. Now, the second part of that makes me wonder, well, if no one's working overtime, what does it mean for services this weekend? Disruptions, if they are any, would start on Saturday morning. The union not yet saying how many services would be affected.
They're also not saying when the disruptions would finish.
That's right.
So they're saying they'll start Saturday morning. So there's a lot of unanswered questions here.
Darren Phillips from the union spoke to 7 News last night on this story.
The cost of living has been an ongoing issue. We just simply need to see a better outcome in wages and some conditions so that we can settle this matter.
I don't think anyone begrudges a union fighting for better pay and conditions, and the point on cost of living spot on, but It
would be Andrew Goll-esque, though, to bung on something that disrupts the most important day on South Australia's promotional calendar, gather round.
You mentioned ramping right at the top there, and things are going to get worse before they get better, not just in a big picture sense, but perhaps in the near future, because it looks like we're on track to have a shocking flu season. We've had 1,649 flu cases recorded this year. This time last year, that number was 842. Now, last year, we went on to record nearly 23,000 cases from a base of 842 on the 4th of April. So if the doubling continues, we'll have nearly 45,000 cases.
Wow.
Of flu in South Australia this year. The snapshot that the Times has done this morning, I think, is a good backdrop to this. Wednesday morning, patients faced average waits of more than 6 hours at the Flinders Medical Centre and Modbury Hospital, 5 hours at the QEH. There is a flu vaccine out there that is free for 600,000 South Australians. They include people under the age of 5, people over the age of 65, pregnant women, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, and people with pre-existing health conditions. So it may behoove you to go and get a flu vaccine this year if you haven't done it previously.
Was that list you were reading, was that an official SA Health thing?
Which part?
About the categories of people who can get the vaccine or who should get the vaccine?
I believe so.
Yeah, that was good. I just heartened to hear they're referring to pregnant women.
No, I can tell you.
Because remember last year the statement came out where they talked about people who are pregnant.
I'm not sure if it's in this little grab, but Chris Picton actually in his press conference yesterday, and it was noted, said pregnant women. I heard him say.
Oh no, for sure. It never came from him. He's always been a stickler for describing, people's genetic makeup as the Almighty intended it.
Here he is on 7 News.
We haven't really seen a slowdown in flu cases. We're seeing less of a one spike in the middle of winter and more demand and pressure all year round that we're having to cope with.
The Liberals here in South Australia would like to see a winter management plan for health be released, and also that free jab program extended beyond those categories that I just mentioned.
Now is the time to be pulling every single lever possible to prepare for what we know will be a challenging winter.
Winter will see a greater demand, and simply to shrug and say, well, there's demand all the time, we don't need a different approach to winter, that's a cop-out. We want people to, if they do get the flu, to have a much lesser experience, which means that they don't end up in hospital.
Internationally, rescue efforts are underway in Taiwan after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake that struck the island's east coast, a part of the island that's really undeveloped. It's only been in recent decades that they've built roads out that way. It's quite
super remote, yeah.
Very remote. I mean, I don't think that's the way most Australians think about Taiwan, but parts of the east coast are particularly remote. It's why there is a death toll of just 9. Still 9 is a tragically high number, and more than 900 injured. But an earthquake of this size would typically, in a really built-up area, have killed many, many more people. Lots of dramatic pictures of buildings collapsed. There are 127 people trapped in collapsed tunnels on roads that wind through mountains. It's the strongest quake to hit Taiwan in 25 years. If you were on any social media yesterday, you would have seen these incredible apocalyptic-style shots that people have taken on their iPhones of mudslides down hillsides that look genuinely terrifying.
The footage from inside that TV studio was unbelievable last night. Did you see the whole thing was shaking?
Did you see the bloke in the pool on top of a building?
Oh, no.
It's one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen. He's sitting in a pool, it looks like at a hotel, and it's shaking back and forth. It's slopping around like bathwater. Or if you're carrying a bucket of water, it's firing out both sides. And this guy's kind of floating in the middle of it. It's extraordinary. Tanya Lawrence, federal MP, was over there holidaying.
So we tried to get out of bed really fast to grab our passports and gear and just head straight for the fire escapes, but we literally just got thrown back onto the bed.
So a particularly scary situation, one that is very much an unfolding rescue story as we speak. 15 after 7, our number, of course, 8223 0088. You can text us on the Duttons text line. Duttons April Adventure Bonus up to $2,000. Free genuine accessories. Duttons, easy to do business with. We might take a short break. Back with more in a moment. Traffic first. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up. Use sun protection. Stay sun smart. Download the SunSmart app.
Thanks, Will. At Melrose Park, Bruce Watermain slowing things up today. South Road and Raglan Avenue. Got speeds at 40. One lane closed heading outbound. Super slow there at the moment. So expect a few delays if you're heading that way. Carwindilla, Maureen Road near Sedona Drive has works, and we are slow at the moment at Kidman Park down to 25 there. Findon Road near Dillon Avenue. You'll find early morning cameras, Anderson Walk, Smithfield and Eastern Parade at Gilman. More lunch solutions for less at Big W. Keep food fresh for longer with Sistema Food and Lunch Storage. Now half price. There's more for less at Big W. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
You can buy milk or a lounge or a bed or a TV in Mount Barker or Victor Harbour or any of our regional areas on a public holiday, but you can't in Adelaide. It was almost time to break out the floral shirts and bell-bottom pants again because this Easter felt like 1976.
Matthew Pantelis.
Do we have the balance right? Well, I reckon not in a million gazillion light years.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Don't just send it, ace it.
If your current job is driving you bonkers, get outdoors and hit the road. ACET Transport Solutions is growing and they need more drivers to keep their promise of perfect service. So, if you want a career that'll take you places, get in touch with the team at ACET Transport Solutions. Visit acettransport.au.
Don't just send it, ace it.
Hi, I'm Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Since March 2020, the value of an average home in Adelaide South has grown by $288,000, in the north $243,000 and in the west by $273,000. And the median price in central Adelaide and the hills has soared by $358,000. From Westbourne Park to Wynvale, from Kensington Park to Kilkenny, we've led the charge with 52 suburb records, more than any other agency in South Australia. Go to toop.com.au to find out more.
Gather Round kicks off today and it's the perfect time to gather your mates and gather round some incredible local Prohibition gin.
We hoofed into some of the Prohibition gin at the Crows Geelong game, particularly in that last quarter. It came really handy at the end. It's superb. Whether you're celebrating or drowning your sorrows, what a great opportunity to show off the spirit of South Australia. Plus, Prohibition Gin, it's right here in the heart of Adelaide on Gilbert Street.
I hope they're doing a roaring trade for celebratory purposes tonight.
100%. 100%.
But they'll be doing a roaring trade either way.
It is such good gin. And the tasting room on Gilbert Street, a mate of ours has.
It looks great.
There. It's superb.
It is. It's really well done. And also, if you are a Crows fan, you can ask about their Crows commemorative gin on offer too.
Plus, how's this? Any game goers can flash their game ticket at the bar and enjoy 10% off your total bill.
So, as we've been saying, whether you're basking in victory or just need to pick me up, head into Prohibition and Gin and score savings on gin flights, delicious foods and cocktails.
Make Prohibition Gin part of your gather-round experience. 22 Gilbert Street City, just 4 tram stops from the Adelaide Oval. Drink responsibly.
Harvey Norman, your sleep experts. Massive floor stock clearance on mattresses and adjustable bed bases. 4 big brands: Sealy, AH Beard, Sleepmaker and Tempur. Firm to ultra plush feels, single to super king sizes, and adjustable bed bases priced to clear. Want to enhance your sleep? Tailor your sleep position for the ultimate comfort while in bed, with adjustable bed bases starting from a low $999. Speak to a sleep expert at your local Harvey Norman store today. Massive floor stock clearance on mattresses and adjustable bed bases must end Monday.
Go! Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 7, we've been saying all the heavy hitters from the footy and entertainment industry have descended on Adelaide for a gather round this week, including a man who's occupied the studio immediately next to us for much of the week, broadcasting for 3AW, who'll be here in town too on Sunday for the Sunday Footy Show from the banks of the Torrens. It is, of course, TJ, Tony Jones. Tony, good morning to you.
Will, David, how are you going?
Great to have you here, Tony, and we were just chatting off here. My family and I, we watched the Channel 9 Spectacular the other night. How good was Isaac Rankin?
Fantastic, yeah. No, that is a. I mean, I don't know where he goes with it, but anyone who can stand up and actually sing in front of an audience like he did was just phenomenal.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you think back to the sort of whole history of football variety acts, and you got blokes, cross-dressing and getting up and singing "I Love Rock and Roll" or doing something that it's kind of the stupidity of it is part of the fun. But this was like watching something on Australian Idol.
Yeah, well, maybe not that far, but but I think you're underplaying the rich history of South Australian footballers and music. I mean, who could ever forget Steve Kernahan's rendition of "Stand By Your Man"? So, I mean, Isaac's following in some very illustrious footsteps there.
So, SA in Victoria, there's always been that. We've had a bit of a chip on. What's the old saying about South Australians are very well balanced, got a chip on both shoulders. But do you reckon? Is there a changing perception about Adelaide now? Because we've been disparaged over the years as Dan Andrews made jokes at our expense. And
well, we make jokes at Daniel Andrews' expense anyway. But you know, the one thing, let me put it this way. We've sort of like backed off the rivalry with South Australia somewhat because we're still focused on trying to obliterate Sydney, all right? That's so, we've got a chip on both shoulders as well when it comes to, the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
But the one thing I must say that I hear back home is I wish we had Peter Malinauskas. Now, I don't know what he's...
Some of our listeners will say you're welcome to him.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I know no politician's got a 100% approval rating, but he certainly won us over. And I think we've having had years of Daniel Andrews, I guess it's just having a politician who speaks normal. Look, whether he's a great premier or not, we don't care. We just want someone that resembles someone who's human.
Well, he's not a mad lefty, and the government's not run by mad lefties. We haven't got the crazy levels of taxation that Victoria's got. We haven't got the huge COVID debt that you guys have got. We haven't got the cancelled Commonwealth Games that you're paying for to not host.
Commonwealth Games. Seriously, it's just... But anyway, look, we only stay there because of the weather. But we love it. I don't know what it is about it. It's like being in a really bad marriage. You just stay in it, you know what I mean? Because it's convenient. So, no, I wouldn't live anywhere else. But I've got to say, people that came over for Gather Round last year were just blown away by what this city did in terms of rolling out the red carpet.
Last year, Gather Round started with the Crows obliterating Carlton in the first quarter. That I think lives long in the memory of Crows fans. The fear is it might be the reverse tonight. What's your feeling on tonight's fixture?
Well, I mean, all the pressure. In fact, it was funny when we were doing our news last night for Channel 9.
That's all right.
Melbourne, and it was. Who is under more pressure in this Gather Round? And it's got to be the Adelaide Crows. I mean, you're kicking off Gather Round. It's in your hometown. You've obviously got an amazing level of support, and you're a bit of a basket case at the moment. So and you're coming up against a side who's trying to prove that they're not. And so far, so good for them, as in Melbourne. So it's going to be a fascinating contest, and there's going to be a great story coming out of it, whatever.
Yeah, either way, it's a yarn. So what else has Nine got lined up? You're doing the footy show, Sunday footy show down on the banks of the Torrens, the mighty Torrens?
Yes, we're down. Last night, I think, the mighty Torrens. It's no Yarra, but I'm sure you like it.
You'll melt just as quickly in the Torrens if you jump into it. Don't worry about that.
Well, see, we can't jump in the Yarra. We just walk across it. In fact, that was one of those great memories when we did actually have a Commonwealth Games back in, was it 2006 or 2007? I can't quite remember. Very memorable, the Commonwealth Games. And part of the opening ceremony was Ron Barassi walking on the Yarra. Do you remember that shot? Yeah, it was terrific. But yeah, so we've got the Sunday footy show there on the banks on Sunday morning, and very much looking forward to it.
You weren't tempted to jump in the ring last night?
Oh. No. In fact, it's a funny thing. I don't think it is that funny because I think I might get a little reprimand today. So I went to that AFL launch dinner last night, which was terrific at Glenelg. Yeah, it was beautiful. And someone had said to me, and I'm not going to say who it was, but anyway, Caroline Wilson said, what's going on with the boxing? Because Anthony Rocker had just knocked out Corey McKernan, and Kane and Nathan were fighting. And so I got my phone out, realising I can actually log on to Stan. And so I did, and I was sitting next to the Jay Allen, who's the main media man at the AFL, and I've never seen him move, so he just leant over and slammed my phone shut and put it down. He said, mate, what are you doing? Like the AFL want nothing to do with it. Like we had Andrew Dillon in here yesterday, and I said to him, you spoke about the Food and Wine Festival and all that. So I said, you've missed the big one, the boxing, and he went, no. I said, you don't endorse it? No, absolutely not.
Well, with all the concussion stuff.
Well, it's not a great look, and that's what I worry about with Kane and Nathan. They do so many levels of media, be it podcasting or radio or television or whatever. At some point, they're going to have to talk about concussion, and there's a little bit of a chip in their armoury now when it comes to that. But can I just look? I don't want to be gossipy or anything like that, okay? But hey, we're all tabloid. So at this, I think I can go there. At this launch last night, Tina Arena was performing. And beautiful voice, sang beautifully. The monologue was a little interesting. A lot of eye rolling, eyebrow raising, saying, what was all that about? Basically getting up there denouncing the game of football as to why we're all here.
That's a tough sell at the Gather Round opening gala event.
When you've got the entire AFL Commission there, you've got Peter Malinowskis there, you've got your governor there.
She was aware what the event was, wasn't she?
Don't know. Anyway,
I doubt she decided to get on a plane and do it pro bono.
No, well, she did give a bit of context as to why she was there, because she bumped into Kylie Rogers, who's one of the execs at the AFL. But I know that the Herald Sun gossip queen Jackie Epstein was there, and I know that she's doing a piece online today. So I'll wait to see what she says before I actually. But it was.
So she was basically just rubbishing the whole event.
It was an odd.
Or football itself.
Well, just everything really, and spoke about menopause battles and what have you. So it was an interesting monologue.
Got a bit off the chest by the sound.
Well, that's right. You never know when you have a live mic at your disposal, do you? It might not happen again.
and then picked up a cup and just sort of dared us to suggest what was in that cup. Anyway, she said it might have been tea.
Okay. Rock and roll lives on with Stratarama.
It was really like being back at the Croxton Park Hotel in the 80s for me. I was looking around for Molly Meldrum.
We might make some inquiries and find out a little bit more about that monologue that stopped the room last night.
I'm sure it's around somewhere.
TJ, it's great to have you in. Good luck with Kane on Sunday after those head knocks too. He might make even less sense.
Yeah, I actually. It's a funny thing. I saw Graham Corns come here yesterday, and someone had made the comment last week, and it's spot on. Graham looks younger than Kane.
That's rough. Love Kane. Good on you, TJ. Great. Right. Great to have you in town. Thanks for coming in. Okay, bye. 27 minutes after 7. The sports show tonight is going to be must listen to, of course, the building up to the Crows Melbourne game. Last night, David.
You're not playing it, are you?
Well, I have to play it. You're going to nix this?
No, I'll play it.
You're going to nix this?
I'm sure Rowie got him on just to upset me and everybody else who barracks for the double blues ahead of Gather Round.
You can walk out of the studio if you like. They had an interview with legendary umpire Dez Foster.
You umpired in 4 grand finals. You're famous. You're a household name for one of them in 1978.
Well, at your house.
Well, absolutely. We love
Not
Des.
David Pemberthy.
Well, we should make Des a Hall of Famer at our club, mate. The greatest grand final win ever. Now, in your words to our listeners, to me as a Nord man, Timmy as a Port man, was it a mark? Categorically, Gags's was a mark.
It's well documented over the years. In fact, Cornsey wrote a brilliant article back in about 82, I think it was, after a big discussion. No, I made the most monumental blunder of all time, I think. So, yeah, no, own up to that one. Yeah.
Look at Rowie's face.
Next one.
Des, what?
He is stunned.
What?
He is stunned.
I've not heard you say that. I thought you'd always...
an answer.
Oh, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's an empty feeling, isn't it? But I hope it makes Rowie and his Norwood-loving brethren feel that their premiership win is somewhat illegitimate. But I've got to say, Dez Foster is the world's nicest guy, and he's very big of him to admit that. What did he say? The world's most monumental blunder. It's certainly how the Sturt supporters saw it on the day. For those who don't know, Sturt were leading by 5 points, 90 seconds to go in the 1978 grand final. Phil Gallagher awarded the mark, kicks the goal, Norwood win by a point. Sturt kicked themselves out of that game.
I reckon they did that entire interview just for your benefit.
Well, it's great though, with all the stuff this weekend, all the great old rivalries of the SANFL are coming out.
It's a good point. Winter is coming. Save money and get a Walco Guardian pool cover. Visit walco.com.au. Rowie and Timmy G live from the concourse at Adelaide Oval from 4 o'clock today in the build-up to the Crows D's clash to open Gather Round. You can get down and see them, but certainly tune in because it's going to be a big, big afternoon on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future, to build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.
Your knowledge and skills have the power to brighten our world, so let them shine by volunteering at a Vinnie's store, where your passion for fashion, taste for trinkets and flair for furnishings become an invaluable service to the community. You'll soon discover how a little caring kindness changes lives, including yours. Do good, feel good, and learn new skills while you're at it. Sign up to volunteer at your local Vinnie store today. Visit vinnies.org.au/get involved.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Graham Williams.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
Police are searching for a maroon Mazda sedan after a hit run at Salisbury last night. A 25-year-old man was struck on Commercial Road near Pioneer Park around 9:30. He suffered serious leg injuries and was taken to hospital. The driver failed to stop after the crash. If you're a footy fan, all roads lead to SA with the AFL Gather-Round starting today. Over the next 4 days, Adelaide Oval will host 5 games, with 2 at the Parade and 2 at Mount Barker. But the footy is just one part of it. There are player appearances, a zipline across the Torrens, food and wine festival at Norwood, activities in the hills, and a concert outside the Oval on the Sunday. These interstate visitors have told Seven it's where they want to be.
This year we're actually travelling for 8 weeks around South Australia, and we worked it all around the Gather Round.
We've got 10 days here to take in the whole atmosphere of Adelaide.
Ahead of the first bounce at Adelaide Oval tonight, Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the festivities start over the bridge.
This morning, the Macca's Footy Festival opens up at Elder Park. Open between Thursday and Sunday. We're expecting 100,000 fans to come along to this fantastic activation.
And there'll be another option when it comes to paying for food and drink at Adelaide Oval from tonight. Cryptocurrency has arrived. Crows CEO Tim Silvers says the pilot program is a world first for a major stadium.
We wanted to innovate for our members and fans, so to give them the opportunity to purchase food and bev through crypto.com. Currency is just an exciting element.
Rescuers are searching through rubble to reach those trapped after the strongest earthquake to hit Taiwan in 25 years. The magnitude 7.4 quake struck south of Hualien City, but tremors were felt near the capital, Taipei. More than 100 people are trapped in collapsed tunnels. At least 9 people have been killed. The Prime Minister will use a key speech to flag extra power bill support in the May budget. Anthony Albanese will tell a business conference small operators and families will be front and centre in the financial plan. It's the clearest sign yet the federal government could extend current energy bill relief measures. Health experts are raising concerns about the lack of funding to prevent obesity and promote healthy lifestyles. A study found less than 1% of the healthcare budget in the 9 years to 2022 went to obesity prevention. Australia has one of the highest rates of obesity in the world. Deakin University lead author Michelle Tran says greater investment is needed.
Investment into things to help Australians to lead healthier lives have been relatively low compared to the high rate of overweight and obesity we have.
And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
And now here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide has made 5 changes, while Demons defender Stephen May has been named to return from a rib injury for tonight's Gather Round opener. The Crows will be pushing for their first win of the season. Coach Matthew Nick says they've been here before.
Yeah, we know how quickly we're able to turn this around. We're confident we've found what it is that's letting us down over these first 2 or 3 weeks. In saying that, we are in the fight in week 1 and we played a half a footy. So now we've just got to get out there and prove it.
The rest of the sides for Gather Round will be released later this afternoon, and Rowie and Timmy G will have all the team news in their sports show. Let's go to soccer. Manchester City is making a mess of Aston Villa in their EPL clash, now leading 4-1 late on. Phil Foden in devastating form up front.
Here's Foden. Oh, a hat-trick. And Chambers might have presented him the chance to get it. Stunning. A hat-trick for Phil Foden.
Yeah, he's playing beautifully. That audio thanks to Optus. Earlier, Arsenal had a 2-0 win against Luton, while Brentford and Brighton drew 0-0. And Singapore has joined Malaysia in ruling out hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games, plunging the future of the event in further doubt. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there at Melrose Park. Burst water main to look out for this morning at South Road near Raglan Avenue. We're down to one lane heading outbound, speeds at 40. Really heavy delays back to Cross Road. If you must head that way, leave early this morning. Also slow for works at Cowandilla, Marion Road near Sir Donald Bradman Drive. And we're getting busy Brighton Road, Brighton. You find cameras this morning, Halsey Road, Elizabeth East and Port Road at Cheltenham. Win over $1.6 billion in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in just a few hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA gather round weather.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny today, 22 degrees. Tomorrow sunny, heading for 24. Saturday partly cloudy, 25. And Sunday cloudy, 23. Right now in town it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
We've got Shane from Drummond Golf with us. Shane, you've made it so easy to improve your game with a room full of indoor simulators.
That's right, Rowie. We think all golfers out there will love our big swing golf indoor simulators at Drummond Golf Mile End. We have a room full of simulators to play golf and other sports like soccer, baseball, basketball, and even football with your mates, rain, hail or shine.
Oh, it's great fun too. These simulators, honestly, they've improved my game and I need it.
You're dead right there, Rowie. They're a great training tool. Thanks to the overhead Iron 3 camera that shows video of your club head angle, your club head speed and spin rate.
So jump online, take a look at bigswing.com.au, then call your mates and head to Drummond Golf Mile End.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 8. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note Matt Abraham's in the studio. He's, I think, got a footy jumper on underneath his hoodie. My strong suspicion. I know he's got gather round fever. We'll talk about that and plenty of other things. He might have more likely have an actual fever than gather round fever. But we'll talk about all that in a moment. First, we're out on the road with Jade Robran. Jade, good morning again to you.
Good morning, everybody. Now, I am still here on location of the corner of Raglan Avenue and also South Road because a burst water main has caused chaos here this morning. Traffic is down to one lane, down to 40 clicks, and it is banked up all the way back to Cross Road. Now, the water main burst just before 6 a.m. Emergency services were here on the scene and managed to patch up the burst water main pretty quickly. But the problem we now have is that it has basically pilled up the walkway. So if you're looking on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream there, you will see that a whole lot of bricks have basically just peeled on back, and that is just the sheer pressure of the water there. So what that means, it's not great for drivers that are going to be heading home tonight because emergency services will be working in this area right up until possibly even past peak hour tonight. So it'll be traffic chaos all throughout the morning. As I said, the traffic is thick and fast. Lots of trucks, as we know, use this as the arterial way down to the south. So if you can avoid the area, please do so. I'm out the front of Castle Plaza, just at the traffic lights here, opposite also Bridgestone Tyres and our ARB 4x4 accessories, just on the corner here. So avoid the area if you can. It's going to be long delays. Traffic is absolutely chockers right now, but also that peak hour later tonight will be absolutely mental.
Yeah, great work, Jade. Thank you for that. Well worth being warned about that one as we look at the images on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. That's going to be out of action for a long, long time.
Kay texted in on the Duttons text line saying, guys, that water main on that corner has burst before and bursts on a regular basis. Why don't they fix it properly once and for all?
There's the thought.
5 out of 10 every time. Matthew Abraham on 5AA Breakfast.
Your local Mitre 10, friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That is mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
How many games are you going to, mate?
Oh, lots. No, I'm not going to any games because I don't want to take up a seat that could go to a genuine football lover.
Oh, that's very big of you.
Yeah.
Well, you've already done your bit through your taxes anyway.
Exactly. No, look, I actually can't find much to complain about with the gather round. I know people will be shocked, and the Premier's now, they got the packer-whackers out and they're boom, getting them going. But it's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably, we don't know if it's a good use of taxpayers' money because we don't know how much taxpayers' money is involved. But let's put aside that little sort of hurdle. It is a good vibe for South Australia. And, you know, it's nice seeing all these lesser people from interstate here. And I did love the photo of all the Teslas waiting to be charged.
How funny was that?
At Keith, yeah. I'd toot them if I went by in the Mazda. Beep, beep.
Yeah.
My 91 unleaded.
Blow
some diesel fumes at them.
We don't know what it costs, but I struggle to think of another event that would get 180,000 people into the state over the course of 3 or 4 days.
No.
That feels like good bang for buck.
And
it's one of the few things you can say, whatever it costs, it makes more. Like, it definitely makes more. I mean,
we don't know that if you don't know what it costs, but that's fine.
Don't we think it cost 80 million over 4 years?
We think so, about that.
And we think, though, that Gather Round 1 generated $83 million.
Oh, yeah, they were good, those calculations.
Well, even if that's...
the economic benefit.
Well, spending $80 million make $3 million.
Well, no, spending $20 million in the first year to make $80 million.
That's okay. Look, you have to remember back with these things that... Remember Stephen Marshall got rid of, and Rob Lucas, the supercars. Okay, they got rid of that. And they were going to replace it. They set up this committee, and that's a bad thing to do. And they were going to replace it with all these wonderful events. And I think the worst was a dance sort of party in the Barossa where there were more Liberal staffers.
That was a shock.
You know, dancing than there were people. It was terrible. And he never really, you know, I can't see Stephen Marshall, I can't see him being able to connect, probably not blokey enough to be able to connect with, you know, AFL chiefs or the AFL
well, here we
types
go.
To get it.
So with the festival state, with the City of the Arts, Peter Malinauskas is the first Premier I can remember who did not, upon winning, also make himself the Minister for the Arts. I reckon if you told Peter Malinauskas he had to spend the afternoon in an art gallery or watching some Swedish performance artist crawl out of a glad bag in the Der Spiegel tent, he would say, sorry, I've got something on, I can't make it.
You've hit on a favourite, a Matt Abraham favourite. I listened to enough Matt broadcast radio in a former life to know that whoever had the arts portfolio copped a regular shellacking for their failure to focus on what should be a bread and butter. I don't want to speak for you here, Matt, but I remember a number of times you saying...
Guilty as charged.
Things to the effect of, well, maybe you should go to fewer openings of events and focus on health, or whatever, whoever might have copped it at the time.
Fair enough.
Of course.
But don't you reckon, though,
yeah.
South Australia might have a long-standing artsy tradition, but it's got a long-standing sort of suburban, rev-head, going to the footy, drinking a red can tradition, and he's much more in that sort of suburban yobbo stream, which a lot of us happily are, than toddling around on North Terrace at the opening of, you know, the
ring cycle.
Yeah, Wagner's ring cycle. Which goes for 10 hours, that thing, doesn't it?
Alexandra Kank went there, so that was good. But
there's a name.
She's enthralled.
She always dressed like she was from the age of Aquarius, didn't she?
No, she had her colours done, I think. Autumn. You know, Mike Round said to me once, when I was at the ABC, he said, you know, you ought to do more arts on your brekkie show, you know, people. And I said, our demographic, and yours would be the same in Adelaide, our demographic is the same, and we knew this, is the same as Newcastle in terms of listeners, like, and income level and so on. And, you know, I do think the gather round sort of plays to that, as did the supercars, bringing back the supercars. The thing with the gather round, though, is, you know, it generates a good vibe, and it does show, I suppose, the power of one, that you have to form relationships, you have to be able to connect with people, and I think on that level, Peter Malinauskas does, and he, you know, connects with those footy people, the administrators. He talks their language.
Yeah.
They hear somebody who talks, you know, talks like they talk, thinks like they think. Footy tragic. So I do love it, though, that when he's walking along in any of these press conferences, he's always the one with the football. And he's always tossing the football around there. Now, before we... I thought we'd have a bit of a footy theme this morning. So, after a game, after a loss or after a win, the coach goes back to statistics and they, win-loss ratio, whatever. I can't remember what they do. I haven't got a clue what they do, actually. But last week, I actually found myself double-checking myself, which I don't do very often, but when we were doing the OB at the markets, Adelaide Central Markets, I said, because I'd read it in the Tiser, that the Liberals had 14 seats to Labor's 28 seats after the Dunstan by-election loss. And I found myself checking myself on air, thinking, that can't be right. But it is right. They've got 14 seats. Now, you need 24 seats to win government. So what I've done the Abraham pendulum while we were watching...
Step aside Maccaris.
Yeah, have a look at this. I'll give you these.
Excellent.
Yeah,
this is super good.
They may be wrong, but I have checked
really
them a couple
impressive.
of times.
Oh, I like this.
Have a look at this. Now, this is quite incredible. Okay, so the House of Assembly has 47 seats. You need 24 for a majority. Labor Party's got 28 seats in its own right. All right. Liberal Party's got 14. Have a look at the margins. Okay. In the Liberal Party, only 2 seats are in double figures. So you've got Finnis 0.7, Morialta 1.4, Hyson 1.9, Unley 2.2, Black 2.7, Flinders 3, 3.6, 4.5, 4.8, 5.1, 5.6, 8.1, until you get to Ashton Hearn's seat of Schubert. That's when you get into 11.9. They are, anything under 6% is technically classed as a marginal. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seats of their 14 are technically marginal seats. They're under 6%.
And Labor, in contrast, only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 marginal seats under 6%.
That's right. And
the worst bit, though, Matt, is here the independents.
Yes, that's right. So I've dropped the independents technically on the Conservative side, but I'm not so sure. I wouldn't count on any of those independents supporting a Liberal government, a minority Liberal government. So you've then got these 5 independents. So you've got Fraser Ellis in Narunga. He's at 8.3. Troy Bell in Mount Gambier, 13.1, his margin. These are all the safe Liberal seats. This is why it's so lopsided.
Which normally form the ballast of a Conservative government.
Of course.
All those country electorates.
Now, Jeff Brock, he was never a Liberal. He was always an independent. But his seat of Stewart, when it was Frome, was Rob Kerrin. And it was a Rob Kerrin by-election that really, unnecessary by-election in Frome, that got Jeff Brock's foot in the door and enabled Jay Weatherill to form government with the famous Big Kahuna Pizza deal. Then you got Nick McBride, the latest independent. He's in McKillop. 22.6% is his vote. Now, that's a Liberal vote at the last election. And then Dan Cregan, who also happens to be Speaker in Carvel, 25.4 is his margin. Now, I know there's a lot of stats here, but in brief, you've got 5 independents. 4 of them were Liberal. They're all in really safe seats, and they're out of reach of the Liberal Party.
This is excellent. We should put this up on Facebook for like-minded political nerds.
So on the strength of this, Matt, even in the, as you describe it, fanciful, and I think that's accurate, scenario where all the independents sided with a Liberal government to form government, they would need to have a 4% swing to them at the election, uniform, to pick up Dunstan, Gibson, King, Davenport and Waite.
Yeah. Well, Waite's, that's right. Waite's 4%. Now, Dunstan is the final count is in. It was 354 votes. Labor won by. 20% of the electorate didn't vote.
So it was a 1.4... I was thinking the other way, a 1.4% swing. If that happens, the Libs lose Finnis and Morialta.
Yeah.
So they go down to 12 seats.
Yes. So
the scary thing for them in those seats, and Unley as well, is what happens if there's a good Green candidate. Because all those votes are de facto Labor votes these days.
Yeah. So you get a good Green or independent in Unley, and Unley had, I can't remember his name now, but had a really good Labor candidate at the last election, reduced David Pisoni to 2.2. Pisoni is leaving at the next election.
And you think too about, I mentioned the other day, highest yes vote at last year's referendum was at Goodwood Primary School. Highest yes vote in South Australia, which is not saying that the Voice is going to have any bearing whatsoever on the state election result. I'm saying that the vote is indicative of a soft left mindset that exists within the seat of Unley.
Of course.
You know what this amounts to? David Spears should be as safe as houses.
I better put Abraham Pendulum.
You should, the Abraham Pendulum.
David Spears should be safe as houses.
He should be safe as houses, because all he has to do is walk around with the Abraham Pendulum and go, do you want to own this? You want this to be yours?
I reckon if you're giving this to any of your contacts in the Liberal Party, the least you can do is give them a bottle of Prohibition gin as well.
That is amazing work.
So to recap, okay, to win the next election, the Liberals need to hold all of their seats, all 14, and they need to win back 5 seats that were theirs, that are held by independents, and they need to then win another 5 from Labor.
The alternative for them might be a new voting system whereby Liberal candidates can get elected with the same number of votes that many of the delegates to the state voice did.
Well, that
so you get 6 votes.
Well, hold
you
that
become
thought.
a member for Dunstan.
We might get to that. In fact, we will get to that. We're just going to take a short break first. We'll talk the voice election results and spin of the week in just a moment. Traffic first, though. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up. Use sun protection. Stay sun smart. Download the Sun Smart app.
Thanks, Will. Got a few delays this morning at Melrose Park. Burst water main, that's on South Road near Raglan Avenue. Pretty messy, super slow. She's down to 1 lane. Leave early if you've got to head that way this morning. Paradise is slow too for work. Slow on North East Road near Church Road. Getting busy, Brighton Road, Ackland Hall East. You'll find early morning cameras, Port Road, Cheltenham, and Trim operated Season. Head to Snooze and save up to 50% off mattresses, plus take an extra 10% off mattresses for a limited time only. Hurry, sale on now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Harvey Norman, your sleep experts. Massive floor stock clearance on mattresses and adjustable bed bases. 4 big brands: Sealy, Beard, Sleepmaker and Tempur. Firm to ultra plush feels, single to super king sizes, and adjustable bed bases priced to clear. Want to enhance your sleep? Tailor your sleep position for the ultimate comfort while in bed, with adjustable bed bases starting from a low $999. Speak to a sleep expert at your local Harvey Norman store today. Massive floor stock clearance on mattresses and adjustable bed bases must end Monday.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of luxury menswear offer an impeccable range of men's attire for work, to celebrate and play. Global brands from E7, Replay, Hugo Boss and Karl Lagerfeld to Canali, Tremorosa Jeans, Emporio Armani and more, including shirts, footwear, jackets and denim. They have it all. If it's casual with style, you'll find it at Ignition for Men, 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. ignitionformen.com.au.
Gather Round kicks off today. It's the perfect time to gather your mates and gather around some incredible local Prohibition gin.
What a great chance to show off the spirit of SA. Plus, Prohibition Gin is right here in the heart of Adelaide on Gilbert Street.
The Prohibition Gin tasting room offers the perfect opportunity to sample the entire Prohibition range. And if you're a Crows fan, ask about their Adelaide Crows commemorative gin.
Plus, any game goers can flash their game ticket at the bar and enjoy 10% off the total bill.
Whether you're basking in victory or need a pick-me-up, head into Prohibition Gin and score savings on gin flights, delicious food and cocktails.
Great gin and a great location make Prohibition Gin part of your gather round experience. 22 Gilbert Street City, just 4 tram stops from the Oval. Drink responsibly.
Living independently is an important part of life. For those who need accommodation in a thriving environment with support and care available, Always Care is always there. We'll match your loved one with suitable housemates and disability support workers to ensure they enjoy independent living in a supportive community. If you or a loved one requires accommodation with care, Always Care is NDIS approved and passionate about helping all live their life to the fullest. Find out more at alwayscare.com.au.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
If you can say 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun in 4 seconds, you can win a free cup of Coke. It's that simple. Just say
it's 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun
in 4 seconds and you can win a free cup of Coke. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
It's 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Say it in 4 seconds and win a free cup of Coke at McDonald's.
You're going to have to be quicker than that to win the VIP tickets for the Gather Round match, Port Essendon, on Friday night at Adelaide Oval. We've had 4 contestants already entered into the running with times recorded but kept secret for you to be next among them, and hopefully the fastest. Get calling now on 8223 0055. Picking over the Dunstan by-election results, Matt, we also have the Voice election results. Now, let's start. There's a lot of angles into this because low turnout seems to be the big story. Low vote totals to get a quota. 80%.
Low number of candidates.
Low number of candidates. So 80% of people turned out in the Dunstan by-election. So a fifth of people didn't. It was extraordinarily low for the Voice election, was it not?
Yeah, 2,000 out of, I think,
35,000 potentially
Indigenous or people who were eligible to vote for their representative voice. I think you've got to cut them some slack on this in terms of, like 4 candidates didn't even vote for themselves, so they got zero.
So the Monty Python sketch.
In a way, it's sort of admirable, but and one candidate got elected on 6 votes. It wasn't a good start. And Kyan Ma, the Attorney General, okay, this is his baby. I mean, I think he's been both diverted and preoccupied with the Voice at a federal level and then a state level. And so this was his baby. This was the first thing that Peter Malinauskas mentioned in his victory speech on election night, the Voice, a South Australian Voice. That was the first thing. That was the first thing on his agenda, the first box that had to be ticked. And it's not a good start for it as a representative body. So you would hope that from here that there is an awareness that it's going to actually do something. Otherwise, it will turn out to be a dud. And for Kyan Ma, as he did, put out a press release saying that this is a success, this first Voice. What a great success. And he used the word success a couple of times in his media release. I'm thinking, no, it's not. Now, that is not a good start for a campaign that you poured a lot of time into. Hasn't got off to a good start.
I think it shows there's no difference between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians when it comes to how often we have to vote for damn things in this country. They're talking about fining us for voting for local government. I think a lot of Aboriginal people have thought, I don't even know who these people are. Why do I have to vote?
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to vote. So
there's pressure on the body now to do things that's going to inspire people to vote next time, isn't there? Because if that doesn't happen...
Well, the problem for the government is that the sell was always, this is non-binding. So it can make whatever advice it wants, and we don't have to accept it. It's just an advisory body. So, okay, you set that aside. Now it becomes, well, given how little standing it has, in what logical world do we clear the decks so that everybody in Parliament has to go and listen to somebody who 6 people voted for?
Yeah.
They end up drifting into the who cares what they think category because they don't really represent anyone because of the paltry turnout.
A number of comments that have been in the Tiser, a number of stories I've had from prominent Indigenous people saying, well, this doesn't represent us. This is not a representative body. So it's off to a...
From both sides of Aboriginal politics too.
Yeah. It's off to a stumbling start.
Time to rate some spin.
9 out of 10 every time.
Now, I've come to the conclusion that we can learn a lot from football coaches, AFL coaches.
Wow.
Yep. And particularly David Spears, because we know the trouble he got into before they'd even formally lost Norwood. He was sort of talking about factions and, going on with a whole lot of bizarre stuff. And I thought, what you need to do is you need to be like Matthew Nicks, Crows coach. And this is him, and I know you're shocked, but this is him on AFL 360 being asked about their 3-0 start to the season.
What have you nailed? What have you nailed as one of the reasons why you were zip 3 and you can't kick goals at the moment? You can't score.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're finding ourselves back to a spot where we were probably 6 to 12 months ago, getting a couple of small things wrong, which can make the game look a long way off, unfortunately. So we've got work to do in that space. But it's interesting, some of these weeks where you have such a poor performance, you're able to sit down and review it and really get to the bottom of it. So we have a short break. We go into a gather round Thursday night hit out against Melbourne, who are one of, if not the best team in the competition, in our opinion. So we're looking forward to that challenge. But I've said right the way through, you're never that good and you're never that bad. And at the moment, unfortunately, we're not that bad.
I'm trying to work out the last bit.
It's a line the Libs can use, though.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
We're going up against, the best premier in the competition. And, we're never that good and we're never that bad. And unfortunately, we're not that bad. I mean, if you're going to explain something, do it in a way that doesn't make any sense to anyone.
Yeah, you're right.
So for his 3-0, I'm giving him a mighty 10. out of 3 out of 10.
Love the footy crossover too. Footy coaches everywhere should be terrified if Matt starts rating their post-match press conferences. I think it's going to be dark days ahead. Garth has called in from Woodville Park with the magic phrase that could have him going off to gather round on Friday night. Once won you a Coke at Macca's, could win you the ultimate VIP experience on the program. If, Garth, you are faster than anyone else who gets it away accurately and intelligibly. Good morning to you.
Good morning, how are we?
We're well. Mate, you take it away. The clock starts when you start speaking.
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Yep, that'll do. That was good. That will do. That felt fast. I'm not sure.
Felt good.
Sam Daddo is the master of clocks, and he's out there just measuring things, so we will... We'll get all the official tallies, and all be revealed Friday morning, and we'll learn, Garth, whether that was quick enough to get you along to gather around on Friday night. 5AA News and Breaking 8 next.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
22 and mostly sunny today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Police are investigating a hit run at Salisbury last night. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says a man was hit by a car on Commercial Road near Pioneer Park.
The 25-year-old man has sustained some serious leg injuries and he's been taken to hospital for treatment. Now we suspect the vehicle involved to be a maroon-coloured Mazda sedan, and we're asking for that driver to please come forward. So anybody who witnessed the crash or was driving through the area at the time or has dash cam footage, please contact Crime Stoppers.
Premier Peter Malinauskas is talking up the second AFL Gather Round, which starts tonight. All 9 games in round 4 of the AFL will be played in SA. The Premier says it's going to the next level this time around.
This time last year there had been a 4 or 5 month run up in the lead up to the Gather Round, but this year we've had a full 12-month run up, and I think that only builds the anticipation, but more than that I think it sets the stage for a really well organised event throughout the course of the weekend.
International pressure is mounting on Israel to conduct a full and transparent investigation into a strike that killed 7 aid workers, including Australian Zomi Frankham. Head of Israeli military says the strike was a grave mistake and had occurred due to misidentification. UK Foreign Affairs Secretary of State David Cameron says Israel must protect the safety of aid workers.
I welcome what the Israeli Foreign Minister said yesterday to me about a full, urgent and transparent inquiry into how this dreadful event was allowed to happen, and we want to see that happen very, very quickly.
Hundreds of people are trapped in collapsed tunnels in Taiwan after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck the east coast. At least 9 people have been killed, 900 others are injured. Aftershocks are expected. All levels of government are being urged to consider cutting their spending in a bid to reduce the tax burden on Australians. New analysis from the Centre for Independent Studies shows tax revenue for this financial year will be close to an all-time high. Senior Fellow Robert Carling says a reduction in government programs would allow them to lower taxes.
Let's face it, government does a great deal these days. Does it need to do all of those things, or concentrate on doing fewer things more effectively?
A new drug giving patients a better chance of surviving a stroke is being trialled in Melbourne. The drug aims to stop brain cell deaths in its tracks, saving patients from death and life-altering disability. Stroke physician Chris Levi says the drug gives a patient life-saving time.
One of those drugs that can actually stop the damage occurring and give you time to remove the clot, the thing that's causing the stroke. Especially important for regional and rural patients because they often have a long way to travel before they get to a place like the Royal Melbourne that can get the clot out.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Melbourne defender Stephen May has been named to return from a rib injury for tonight's clash against Adelaide. Marty Hoare, who has a fractured thumb, the only omission for the D's. The Crows have made a whopping 5 changes, dropping Luke Pedler, James Borlase and Lockie Scholl, while Wayne Miller and Lockie Murphy are both injured. South Aussie Alex Neil-Bullen, who plays for the D's, says he's also keen for a state versus state matchup.
I'm looking forward to the day the South Aussies can take on the Vics on a State of Origin game, but just to be back here, I came here as a young 8-year-old watching some state games or SANFL Grand Finals, and now to have the opportunity to be the first game of Gather Round, it's a great opportunity for our footy club.
And Port Adelaide's side for their clash against Essendon will be named later this afternoon. Let's go to soccer, and Manchester City's kept itself in title contention for the EPL after thumping Aston Villa 4-1 at home this morning. City still 1 point behind Arsenal, who had a 2-0 win at home against Luton. And there was a 0-0 draw between Brentford and Brighton. Well, Rory McIlroy has found an ally in some live golf defectors. John Rahm, Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau all agreeing the professional tours need to reunite before fans lose interest. And moves are underway to try and save the Melbourne Rebels rugby union team. The Herald Sun reporting former Qantas chair Lee Clifford is leading the push to move the Melbourne Rebels to a new base in the state's western suburbs. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there, nasty burst water main causing you headaches this morning at Melrose Park. It's on South Road near Raglan Avenue, heading out and really messy too. Down to 1 lane, speeds at 40, big delays back to Cross Road. Leave early if you've got to head that way. Activity at Cowandilla 2, Marion Road near Sir Donald Rapid Drive, and getting slow at the moment, Brighton Road at Glenelg East. You find early morning cameras, Tapley's Hill Road, Fulham, and Salisbury Highway, Dry Creek. The King Living Autumn Sale is on now. Save up to 50% on selected Australian design award-winning furniture. Sale on now. Visit the King Living Keswick showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA Gather Round forecast.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny today, 22. Tomorrow sunny, 24. Saturday partly cloudy, 25. Then Sunday cloudy, 23. Currently in Adelaide, that's where we live, Adelaide, it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Catching up with family and friends at home is always a special time. Make life easy with a welcome hand from your local Barnacle Bill. It's Barnacle Bill for seafood and much, much more.
Having access to reliable healthcare services gives us all peace of mind. Too many South Australians living hundreds of kilometres from Adelaide have a local hospital that doesn't have enough nurses or midwives. Frightening? Without state government action, we won't have the nurses and midwives needed to keep our regional hospitals running. Support those who care for us at regionalincentives.com.au. Authorised by EDBAR's ANMF SA branch Ridleyton.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan. There's never any roadworks when you're driving Aussie made, and you'll always find a park that's nestled safely in the shade. The magpies will stop swooping, the kangaroos give way. You won't see a single mosquito at the end of each perfect day. And if the coppers pull you over, they won't wreck your plans when you tell them you bought Aussie made from Dave Benson Caravans.
CMAX Clinical Research are calling all generally healthy adults aged 18 to 65 to take part in important medical research. An exciting opportunity to trial a potential medication that could decrease the risk of a coronary artery disease for people who have predisposed risk factors. Stay at CMAX for 2 consecutive nights and days and attend up to 12 visits to help pave the future of modern medicine. All eligible participants are paid for their time. Interested? Apply for C08123 at cmax.com.au.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. There's one more chance this morning to be put in the running to win the Macca's VIP experience for Gather Round Port Essendon game tomorrow night at Adelaide Oval. Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's the official partners for the AFL Gather Round. The zip line experience, the double pass to the game, sitting inside the boundary to watch the teams warm up, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
How good would that be?
You just need to be able to say this quicker than anyone else who gets through.
Tall beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Not even close.
That's not even close. Mind you, that would have got you a Coke back in the day.
Yeah, it was under 4 seconds. I think it's about 3.6. But I think there's at least 3 people who are in front of me.
Yeah, I think that's probably a reasonable guess. There'll be one more person possibly in front of you, and maybe that goes to the front of the pack, but it's coming up at some time this hour. Dan Houston's coming up. Ryan Fitzgerald will be live with us in the 5AA Breakfast Studio before 9 o'clock, and also Callum Ham and Themis Cressidas will be on as well to talk about the brand new show that's coming to 5AA, which is truly exciting. Also, David, Care Alert in your hand as we speak.
I'm holding an excellent Care Alert smart dialer. They sell peace of mind, the good people at Care Alert. If you haven't got one of these and you're a bit wobbly on your pegs, you need one. They are terrific. They let you, lead an active lifestyle. You can go for a walk. If anything happens, off it goes. Ring your loved ones. Ring the Ambos. You can program it to ring AAA.
Mm-hmm.
But importantly, too, they provide a service which is to get you-know-what off your liver.
Exactly right.
If you're fired up about anything, be it irrational or seismic, we are all ears.
Sound off for the Care Alert Smart Dialer. Get calling right now, 8223 0055. Speak to Sam and Lucy and prepare your sound off. The Care Alert Smart Dialer. You can use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS for Care Alert and get one for free. Visit carealert.com.au. Let's go breaking at 8.
Well, this is sad news. One of South Australia's most iconic food businesses is closing its doors. Canman 2 Bacon. They put up a Facebook post last night, the owners Rob and Elaine McInnes, saying after 42 years producing our award-winning bacon, ham and small goods, we're going to have some time to sit back and relax. We finish on April 19. Our products will still be available here up until then. And after that, at our outlets until sold out. We're alerted to this by Stephen Lucas. But that is easily the best bacon in South Australia. They won so many awards.
So this is not a sort of cost of living or power prices. This is just they've had enough.
So that's the upside.
Yeah.
I guess
good on them.
It's an all good things come to an end story, but there is no better thing in the bacon space than Canman 2 Bacon. We'll get Rob and Elaine on the show at some point over the coming week.
Can someone go in and buy the business from them to keep the product alive?
Well, that's a good point.
Pay them bucket loads of cash to keep it alive. Go on, someone.
Yeah. Well, and they've got the know-how.
Exactly.
They've got the recipes. They've got the product, the pork to source.
See, that's where everybody wins. They get to retire to a private island, and the rest of us get to continue eating the bacon.
Maybe we should ring Darren Thomas or see if there's another bigger business around that would be a natural fit. They might. And they're geographically close because they're based in Murray Bridge. Who knows? Thinking outside the square here, Will. But maybe they don't. Maybe they just don't want to sell it. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Fair enough.
To Rob and Elaine, for all your excellent bacon-related achievements over the years, we salute you and we wish you all the very best in your retirement. And thanks to Steve Lucas for tipping us into that one. Our Canman 2 correspondent.
Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. Haters count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Time to sound off for the Care Alert Smart Dialer. Use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS for a Care Alert free. Visit carealert.com.au. Barbara in Seaview Downs has called through. Barbara, the sound off floor is all yours. Good morning.
Good morning, boys. I have a big concern about drivers on the road. They disobey the rules. They go through red lights. They tailgate. And I drive at the speed limit, as I've been driving for over 60 years. Tailgating to me has just become so abnormally stupid. I cannot believe that drivers today have this don't care attitude, and they don't care about anyone else who's driving. And my worst fear is that I might end up like a lady did at an intersection near me, innocent driver, but smashed to pieces by irresponsible drivers.
Well, Well said, Barbara.
Yeah, it's a good sound off.
It's an important sound off. I think everybody listening would agree 100% with Barbara. And what does it achieve? Is that these people getting to their destination any quicker by slamming up the backside?
You ever worked out mathematically how much faster you get somewhere if you're driving 6 k's an hour over the speed limit or 8 k's an hour over the speed limit in Adelaide? What do you get there? You get there 90 seconds faster?
Yeah, well, say you're heading down South Road now and you're sitting on 71 because you reckon you're in a hurry. Well, good luck when you get to Castle Plaza is all I'd say. Because you're going to be sitting there with everyone else.
More risk. You've got risk of paying a fine, and you don't get anywhere that particularly quicker either. Barbara, you've got the Care Alert Smart Dialer coming your way. Terrific sound off.
It was a great sound off. And as we said, they can be frivolous or they can be profound, and that was a profound one.
Certainly was excellent.
Hey, Mike and Darren still want you to know too, if you have a My Aged Care funding package or you're on the NDIS, you are able to get a free Care Alert Smart Dialer too.
Good stuff. 15 after 8. Dan Houston coming up in just a moment. Let's check traffic first, though. When the UV is 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay SunSmart. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there, burst water main still causing a few headaches this morning at Melrose Park, South Road near Raglan Avenue. Quite messy too, a lot of debris there. It's down a 1 lane, speeds at 40 and lengthy delays back to Cross Road. Also seeing delays at Cowandilla at the moment, Marion Road near St Donald Rabbit Drive. Getting busy, Brighton Road, Brighton. With a camera this morning, Halsey Road at Elizabeth East. IGA, the place for savings on a dinner fave, Ready Chef lasagna, 2 kilos, only $12 each. Offer ends April 9. Excludes IGA, Local Grocer and Express while stocks last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
The Crows team has just dropped 5 changes, Rowe.
Well, Butts, Parnell, Cook, Berry, Nankervis, the first 3 have named in the 18, so they'll play. But here's the outs. Ball-Ace, Scholl, Luke Pedler has been played out of form.
The 5AA Sports Show.
I'm gobsmacked by that. I am flabbergasted.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
There are 3 kinds of people in life, Dave. TKD Trade and Power Pass members who get trade pricing and benefits at Toolkit Depot. TKD Club members who get discount pricing. And those who don't know it's free to join. No. Sign up now at toolkitdepot.com.au.
Tina. The Tina Turner musical is rolling into Adelaide in 3 weeks. This heart-pumping production celebrates the inspiring life story of Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll. Featuring more than 20 of her iconic songs, Tina is guaranteed to raise the roof at the Festival Theatre. Opens April 24. Book at Ticketek. It's simply the best.
Whether you're gathering round the telly or round the oval, footy's always better with Macca's, the official partners of the AFL Gather Round.
I'll tell you what, having a Big Mac here for breakfast in the studio yesterday, that was one of the high points of my week. Better than granola, Big Mac for breakfast. Thanks to our great mates at Macca's and the original Mouthful Mac family range, we're giving you the chance to win a money can't buy experience to the Port Essendon match tomorrow night at the beautiful Adelaide Oval.
You'll be heading to the match via zip line across the Torrens from the AFL Macca's Gather Round Footy Festival, then experience exclusive pre-game viewing by the boundary line during the team warm-ups before settling into the game.
Now, you'll be loving this news too. The one-of-a-kind Big Mac, this is exciting. It's now 3 of a kind, with the Mac Junior, for those who aren't that famished, and then if you really want to get stuck in, the Grand Big Mac. Now there's one for every kind of hungry.
Adelaide, get pumped to Gather Round, all thanks to Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Struggling with your CPAP therapy? Try the world's first auto-fitting mask from Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Respirocare Healthcare is offering the Fisher & Paykel Sleep Style device for 30% off, plus a free solo mask valued at $310. Visit one of 6 Respirocare clinics and mention this ad to redeem this offer. Respirocare Healthcare, proudly serving South Australia for 20 years. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Wella, everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices. Everyone's gonna save $1 or $2. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices, yeah.
Hold on, Hoyts sell more than just herbs and spices. Tickle your taste buds with Hoyt's pickled vegetables, the Jardiniera pickled garden salad, Australian hot chilies in vinegar, Hoyt's gherkins, capers, sun-dried tomatoes, Kalamata and green stuffed olives. You'll be happy with Hoyt's at Coles, selected Woolworths and all good independent supermarkets.
Hoyt's spices, yeah.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 8, $19 schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel.
Dan Houston for the moment of all moments for Port Adelaide. It's online. Port Adelaide have done it again.
Well, it all starts tonight. Gather round. Crows, Melbourne and Adelaide Oval. But then tomorrow night, Port Adelaide, Essendon in a game featuring a milestone for our next guest, Dan Houston. He's 150th. Dan, good morning to you. Congratulations, mate.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a long 9 years to play 150 games, and ever since I played my first one, I just wanted to keep playing. And I've lucky my body's held up, and I've been relatively consistent and been able to reach this milestone.
It's a huge credit to you, Dan. Are there any special celebrations planned, or are you trying to keep it all? Because you're fairly modest sort of a bloke. Are you going to have your name flying around on the lights like there was for Kane Corns in his 300th? Is that the plan?
Nah.
I know that was all planned by Kane, by the way.
Yeah, they don't give us much options with that sort of stuff, but I think I'll keep it relatively low-key. I don't have a huge amount of people coming over from Melbourne, but enough, and I'm sure Saturday I might do something, but... for the game, firstly, I just want to get the win and make Saturday and the weekend enjoyable.
150 games, 26 years of age. You've just come off an All-Australian season. I mean, it's been a remarkable career to this point in time. You've been on a team that's been consistently in the top 4. I went back and looked at the start, and it's an unconventional start to your career because someone who's reached that point at the midway point of their career, you'd think, oh, well, you're a top 10 draft pick or something. You were the 45th, 46th pick of the rookie draft that year. So what happened junior-wise? Why didn't you come through that traditional pathway on national draft night?
Well, I was playing forward, and I genuinely expected to be in the rookie draft. I didn't think I was a great junior footballer, and then I think I just developed. I wasn't overly fit. I was a little bit unprofessional with my diet, and then I feel like the year in the system and seeing what other players do and being able to learn off them and have that challenge ahead of me to try and get a game was really good for me. And I spent the first year in the SANFL, and then after that, pretty much consistently in the AFL team, bar a few weeks here and there. And I've really enjoyed that challenge, and playing down back has helped me because I think that suits my strengths more than playing up forward too.
Is it your dream to return to the SANFL though? Is that?
That's the next challenge ahead of me.
Yeah. 150 games at Sanford.
I mean, my view is that is the benchmark.
Yeah, you actually see Dan's career as a bit of a disappointment, starting at the pinnacle of the
fell in with a bad crowd at the AFL.
He became an All-Australian in the AFL.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a tragic turn of events.
I tell you what, you might have to hurry up to play SANFL for Port the way things are looking, if the rumours are true.
Does Friday night's game feel different as a player? Because I think the town feels different in Gather Round, and the build-up feels bigger for everyone outside of the bubble of a footy club. Does it feel different for you?
Yeah, I think it does feel different. When you see people walking around from all different parts of Australia wearing different jerseys, it feels like you're more, presenting your team out there and trying to put on a show rather than in weeks. You sort of feel a little bit of pressure, like we need to win. It sort of changes. It feels like it changes your focus a little bit. But there's no doubt we want to win, but we also want to put on a show for the fans that have come all this way to watch us.
Do you get roped into much of the other stuff? I know we were talking to Josh Rochelle earlier in the week, and he's doing the DJing Sunday with Aaliyah. Going to be spinning the decks out there, playing some LPs for the crowd.
Charlie Dixon and Lockie Jones are in the drag race this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. The Bend, aren't they?
Yeah,
is that at the Bend?
Yeah, at the Bend.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Have you been tapped? Are you getting along to any of that sort of stuff, mate?
I was actually having a laugh with one of the boys. So I've been roped into working at Coles Findon from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. on Saturday after the game. So I don't know how that promotes the state, but if you want to,
hang on the checkout.
Well, I'm at Coles from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m.
Or are you going to be out in the car park picking up all the trolleys, that sort of stuff
putting the trolleys back, or scanning items, or working at the self-checkout? I don't know.
You've been dudded, mate. You're just
I
pulling your shift
have.
at Coles.
Yeah.
Someone's told you it's a gather round event.
Yeah. people up in Harndorf working at a festival and I'm at Coles scanning stuff. I just don't know how it works out. But if you want to come down, you can come down and I'll be there.
That's excellent.
Just make sure you have your
penalty
rewards card.
rates on the Saturday?
Yeah. Have you got your rewards card? You get time and a half doing it on a Saturday as
I
well.
would have thought.
Oh, you know, one thing I thought earlier, that you've got the curse of having a surname, Dan, that headline writers like, because they always want to do puns. And I saw the other day, and like, what happened with the game last week? None of it was your fault. I thought I was talking to Will, who knows about these things better than me. He said, no, Dan played well. But the headline was, Houston, we have a problem. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
I bet you've never heard that in your life.
Never heard that one before.
So original.
So original. I always hear it every now and then, and I'm just like, it's just keeps going. I don't know when it'll stop, but it's easy for the commentators just to go with that one.
Yeah.
Anything bad or anything questionable I do, it's a problem.
You can blame NASA for that one, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, mate, it's a big game, and is it hard to say just because we've only done this once before, but does it feel like it's less of a home ground advantage during gather round because you've got so many Vics coming over?
Oh, a little bit. I feel like a lot of teams play a lot of games at Adelaide Oval for some reason, and teams pride themselves playing here well because us in Adelaide do have a really strong home ground advantage, and teams do like to take that off us. But I feel like we have a lot of supporters in our corner at the Oval most weeks, and I feel like we might have a little bit less. It might be a little bit more neutral, but no doubt the Port supporters will be loud and make us feel like we do have a home ground advantage.
In and around your game, and then pulling shifts at Coles this weekend.
Yeah.
Are you going to get an opportunity to go to any other games yourself? You got other mates you'd like to see play?
I do, but they're playing on Sunday, so I might see. Sunday's more of a rest day for me, but I might go down and have a look. And last year I went to Adelaide Carlton, and I really enjoyed the vibe. And as I said, it was a really neutral, supported event, which made that little bit easier just to go watch a Crows game.
Yeah, I enjoyed that first quarter last year.
They were good those
Hopefully,
days, weren't they?
Similar thing happens tonight, but who knows?
Absolutely.
On form, you wouldn't be putting your house on that. Well, mate, 150. It's a huge achievement, and we hope you get the win so you can celebrate such a big milestone in the style that you deserve, Dan.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
$19 Shinity Monday to Wednesday at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Borough hotel. Petrol's jumping up to catch Victorians and people coming across the border at the moment, I think. It's up today. We've seen it in some places. We've had reports this morning of petrol at $2.27 in places this morning.
$2.27?
Yeah. The cheap spots, $1.83 still in Glenelg and Brighton, $1.84 in Toorak Gardens, $1.79 along Grand Junction Road in Rosewater. Diesel currently sitting in the $1.90s. The cheapest we managed to spot is $1.88 at the Liberty Camden Park on Moringi Avenue.
I just got a text from former Liberal MP Michael Pratt that I think makes a lot of sense. That rhymes with Anchor, who ran onto the pitch at the footy a couple of weeks ago during the Geelong game. Why hasn't he been named publicly?
Great question. Oh, well, I think it's because they think that encourages this sort of behaviour.
Seriously?
I think that's the theory.
What, you name publicly, you become known as the number one moron in South Australia?
These idiots want to be known.
Make it hard for you to get a job or keep your job?
Well, but isn't that, you could say all that about running on the ground in the first place, couldn't you? Then these idiots are motivated by that.
if you do have a job, your employer would know on Monday because they'd see you on the TV.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they should be named, but I think the logic of it historically, correct me if I'm wrong, people are in the know on this, I think historically the logic has been don't give these idiots the publicity they want. It's why they try not to show them on the TV coverage anymore either.
The other thing I reckon, we should put a call into the Stadium Management Authority. They gave him a 3-year ban. The AFL banned him for life.
Good on the AFL.
Yeah. Now, the SMA did what the existing rules provide for. Surely they're going to change the existing rules. It should be a life ban.
Yep. Yeah, simple as that. I'd like to know what happens if he turns up to a game and gets caught now. Because it's not like they're going to stand around with clipboards of a picture of this clown.
Well, I know. How do they
know?
Exactly. How do they know? But it's funny. You get named the moment you're charged with any offence and you go to court. You're named, even if you end up being found innocent. Yet this guy's demonstrably done something completely bloody stupid.
I agree with that. I think that's totally reasonable. 29 minutes after 8, 5AA News is coming up. Back shortly.
There's mega deals on this week at your local IGA. Like Huggies nappies or nappy pants, 46 to 108 packs, selected varieties, $31 each. Specials across the store right now, only at IGA. Offer ends April 9. Participating stores only. Excludes local grocer and Foodland.
It's time to take a closer look at a Peugeot with drive-away offers on new SUVs. Like the Peugeot 3008 GT SUV from an alluring drive-away price. With an elevated driving position and the latest safety features, this mid-size SUV epitomises style and comfort. Take advantage of new SUVs available for prompt delivery while stocks last. T's and C's apply. Head to Peugeot.com.au or visit your local Peugeot dealer today.
Now, Mitre 10. I love Mitre 10, and I am just going through my pile of... I don't actually need a script to talk about Mitre 10, because I was in at Mitre 10 only last Wednesday. I bought some Selly's liquid nails, I picked up some seedlings, and I told the bloke that I was bolting 2 cupboards together, and he said, the brackets are over there in aisle 5. The service is always impeccable. Take it away, Will.
Yeah, it was as simple as that. Do what David did. That should be their motto.
Do what David did.
Do what David did.
That's what the Mitre 10 ad should say.
If you're planning some home improvements, you've got some fix-it jobs to do, you just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, simply head into your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
They are always mighty helpful. I told the story the other day about how I needed a new little black plastic plug from a Sulo bin, and the guy said, I reckon we got one out the back, and he came out and gave it to me, and I said, how much is that? And he said, don't worry about it, you can take it. That's service.
That's service.
Try doing that at some of the other hardware stores.
Good luck with that. That is your Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
There are electrical safety recalls on solar home batteries, branded LG, LG Chem, and inside some Solax products. Affected batteries may overheat and catch fire, resulting in injury, death, or damage to property. Incidents have occurred and caused damage to property. Even if you have checked before, please check again by visiting lghomebattery.com.au or by calling 1300 677 273. That's 1300 677 273.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
2 trucks have collided on the air highway west of Yalata. Emergency crews are at the scene. The highway is currently closed. All trucks should park at Yalata or other major service stations. Meantime, a man's been arrested following a pursuit in the northern suburbs this morning. Police tried to stop the driver on Main North Road at Prospect, but he sped off. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says the car was successfully spiked on Galway Avenue.
It came to a stop on Hepburn Street at Broadview, and the driver attempted to run from the vehicle but was swiftly arrested. He is a 32-year-old man from Munapara. He's been charged with various traffic offences, including dangerous driving to escape police pursuit and disqualified driving, and he's going to court this morning.
Gather Round has become an instant favourite on the footy calendar, and fans are converging on Adelaide for 9 AFL games over the next 4 days. The majority will be played at Adelaide Oval, starting tonight with the Crows versus Melbourne. The parade at Norwood will host 2 games, as will Mount Barker. Anna Mola from the Hotels Association says there are lots of options when it comes to finding somewhere to stay.
We're very lucky that we have a huge breadth of accommodation in the state. You know, you think of, the Sofotels and the Hilton and that kind of thing, but there's then also, the Discovery Parks. So you've got the cabins and the caravan parks as well, and then you've got the mid-range hotels. There'll be some people that come across as well that stay in Airbnb.
Ahead of the first bounce at Adelaide Oval tonight, Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the festivities start on the other side of the bridge.
This morning, the Macca's Footy Festival opens up at Elder Park. Open between Thursday and Sunday. We're expecting 100,000 fans to come along to this fantastic activation.
The federal government says it'll watch very closely as Israel investigates the death of an Australian in Gaza. Melbourne-born Zomi Frankham was one of 7 aid workers killed in an Israeli airstrike. Ms. Frankham's friends say Israel's initial response has been disappointing. The soldiers responsible should be investigated for war crimes. Senior Labour Minister Mark Butler has told Today Israel is looking into the incident.
Our very clear expectation as Australians and as the Australian government that there would be full transparency and full accountability with a very clear investigation as to how these terrible deaths occurred. And we were assured by the Israeli government that that would happen, and we'll be following that very, very closely.
Australians are forecast to pay near record amounts of tax this financial year. The Centre for Independent Studies says at least 125 different taxes are being levied. All levels of government are being urged to cut their spending to reduce the burden on Australians. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Enjoy 10-year warranty and capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the new Agostino Mitsubishi Mawson Lakes.
Hello, Tom Wren.
Hello, Graham. We're going to start with a bit of footy. Port Adelaide will name its side tonight ahead of tomorrow night's clash against Essendon. Jason Horne-Francis will return to the side after missing the past fortnight with a hamstring injury, while Ollie Wines will miss with a hamstring issue of his own. The match will be Vice-Captain Dan Houston's 150th, and he told David and Will it's been an enjoyable journey so far.
It's been a long 9 years to play 150 games, and ever since I played my first one, I just wanted to keep playing. And I've lucky my body's held up, and I've been relatively consistent and been able to reach this milestone.
Yeah, it's a great effort. Adelaide, meantime, will kick off Gather Round tonight when it hosts Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. The Crows have made a massive 5 changes as they look to record their first win of the season against the D's. Let's head to soccer, and Arsenal and Manchester City have kept up the pressure on Liverpool as the English Premier League title race heats up. Man City had a comfortable 4-1 win against Aston Villa, while Arsenal took care of Luton 2-0. The Gunners are a point clear of Liverpool. Manchester City's level with them, but the Reds still have a game in hand on both of those teams. And international jockey Stefano Curchi has died 2 weeks after a race fall at a Canberra meeting. The 23-year-old from Italy was one of 3 jockeys and horses involved in the fall. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there at Melrose Park, a burst water main, South Road near Raglan Avenue. Speeds at 40, the lane closed up and lots of debris around there. Super slow, take it nice and easy if you're heading that way. Plympton Park reports of a smash on Marion Road at Cross Road, and works to look out for today, Cowenzilla. Marion Road near Sir Donald Bradford Drive, speeds reduced. You'll find early morning cameras, Horsey Road, Elizabeth East and Port Road at Cheltenham. Win over $1.6 billion in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in less than 3 hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
There's a Big Mac for every kind of hungry. Macca's, official partners for AFL Gather Round.
Mostly sunny today, 22. Tomorrow, sunny, 24. Saturday, partly cloudy, 25. Then Sunday, cloudy, 23. Currently in Adelaide, it's 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 to 9, good time to jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, albeit I introduced this segment with a twinge of sadness because it is a new beginning for 5AA, but also David Penberthy is moving one step closer to leaving the breakfast program because our next guests have launched the show that he wishes he did. I'm speaking, of course, of Callum Han and Themis Crusaders, who are in the 5AA breakfast studio with us to announce and launch a new show program on 5AA. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, we are very, very excited about the new show. David, there's always going to be a seat for you, mate. You're always welcome.
I just think it's good that we've finally got an actual proper food show on 5AA as opposed to one that's meant to be a news and current affairs breakfast show that keeps getting interrupted by me talking about recipes.
Featuring Mexican cooking. If you do a Mexican show, a themed episode at any point in time, good luck keeping him out of the building. He'll find out when you're on.
I'd love to come in.
You know what? You were actually, headlined for our first interview for our show, and then we got bumped. So we gave him the first rights to be on the show first up, and then he bumped us straight away. Well, it wasn't a Mexican show, obviously. I know. Pinata, and he would have been there.
Oh, yeah. You would need more than an hour if you want to talk about how to make mole poblano on air. 200 ingredients.
So 10 a.m. Sundays, people will get to hear the show. What kind of things are you guys going to talk about?
Yeah, so I guess for us, it's all the things that we love to talk about. What's happening in food right now? We've got a lot of our mates coming on as special guests, and some pretty incredible foodies coming onto the show as well. One of my favourite segments that's going to be on the show is what we call Cool Room Confessions. Tell us about that, Themis.
Yeah, that's when I just ask about 10 weird questions, hot fire questions. I get one word response from people. Generally, I try to catch them as off guard as possible to get the honest truth, and it's just awkward, fun food, comedy. it's weird, but it's fun. It works.
Is the cool room at a kitchen the place where you go and whinge about the head chef and the boss and all that kind of stuff?
There's lots of weird things that happen in cool rooms. Obviously not our cool rooms.
Yeah,
Our restaurants, all above board, but in other cool rooms, yes.
It's definitely where you go scream, like muffled screams into the cool room panels.
They're like foot thick walls, so yeah, it's a perfect place.
I reckon it's such a good idea because, in all seriousness, and we don't do it constantly, but when we do talk about food during the Brekkie Show, it's amazing how much interaction you get with the listeners. And it can be something as simple as, like the other day, I'll give you an example. We just said, whatever happened to the 1970s prawn cocktail? And suddenly, there's a million texts. We're getting, one of the listeners sent us a photo the following day going, Dave, after you were talking about it, I had a Pavlovian response. I drove straight to Samtas, and I did it in the old, martini glass with the iceberg lettuce and the Thousand Island dressing. Food shouldn't be a snob's thing, should it? It should be accessible and fun, don't you reckon?
If you think about all all your favourite meals you've ever had in your life, most of them are probably not in some hotshot fancy restaurant, right? It's your mum's roast chicken, or having a late night toasty on the couch at midnight after a few wines, or whatever it might be. I think food is that vehicle that brings us together, right? It's such an important thing from a social perspective.
Yeah, food for me is escapism, right? It's an experience. It's an opportunity for us to forget about what happened during the day or what's happened on the weekend, to step into a restaurant for a couple of hours, or to step into someone's kitchen or your own kitchen with your friends or whoever, and just forget about the world that's passing by and just have a chat about other things and live in the moment for that particular moment. And it's that emotional connection and that socialization, and that, if that's great, the food's great. If that's not great, the food doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, it's always fun subject matter. That's the thing I like about it too. If you're talking about food, you're talking about an event, you're talking about seeing people, or you're talking about going to a place or trying something different. So the idea that you guys are going to spend an hour every Sunday talking about something that is inherently fun is really exciting. I think it's great to have you guys on board.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, we are very excited. I think you're exactly right. It evokes memories. Like in the prawn cocktail example, I think most people don't necessarily think about the flavour of eating a prawn. They go, where was the last time I ate that prawn cocktail, or who did I eat it with? And that invokes really lovely memories.
Did the person who made the prawn cocktail get back to you and say that we don't buy them anymore because it costs $38 to make them? Is that and they have to sell it for $98 in a restaurant?
Oh, no. Well, I think when you work out, you can make it yourself. It's not always doing people in the restaurant business
That's true.
a favour. But, you're not paying yourself penalty rates if you're at home doing it, are you?
That's true.
You're not paying rent. You're not paying all the extra power costs and everything. It's a tough time to be a restaurateur, isn't it?
Oh, mate, they don't get much harder than right now for the restaurant industry. Every morning I wake up. Every single morning for the last 3 months, I think, 4 months, I've woken up and I've thought, who am I going to pick up the phone and see who's closed today? I think there'll be at least another half a dozen well-known institutions that close in the next 6 months. I think as soon as the government calls in their BAS bills and all these other debts, it'll cause havoc for a lot of restaurants, because at the end of the day, they're living off government-funded, tax loans in a way, if you could call it that, with GST and stuff.
Totally.
And I think it is absolutely dire for the industry right now.
And it's not just restaurants as well. It's obviously all the other hospitality sector, but even entertainment, generally speaking. I think there's been like half a dozen nightclubs in Hindley Street in the last couple of months that have closed as well. So the whole industry's feeling it.
That discretionary spending.
If you had a magic wand, but you could fix one of those sort of cost pressures that are currently on the industry, what is it for you guys? Let's broaden it out. Is it labour force issues? I know it's all of these things, but if you could just pick one to be is the biggest challenge you face, is it power bills, or is it something that's more difficult to quantify, like the spending capacity of your customers, because they're the ones struggling under the weight of pressure at the moment?
Mate, I get that the cost of living's gone up, but that impacts every industry.
Yes.
All right, and that's hospitality industry. We're not the only ones impacted by that, and people have more money in their pocket certain times of the year and certain times of the decade, and that goes up and down. And as a business owner, you've just got to learn to manage that, right? Like any business, whether I'm in carpet or whether I'm in computers or whether I'm in food, it doesn't matter really. But the fact that the part that kills the hospitality industry at the moment is simply wage cost. And then there's the payroll tax. That's the thing I'd do. I'd get our little premier in here and have a chat about payroll tax, to be honest.
He wanted to abolish it when he used to be the head of the Shoppers Union. He said it shouldn't exist.
It's not even a tax. I call it a fine, right?
Yeah, a fine for employing people.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
Ridiculous.
It's a fine, because a fine is a deterrent, right? A tax, at least the tax system, actually, you earn more money, you pay tax, but it decreases as well. Whereas there's still an incentive to make money, but payroll tax is a disincentive. So it makes no sense.
Hopefully Stephen Mulligan's listening.
Well, you know what's really a good way to annoy politicians about things you don't like is to have your own radio program.
We did say I have to be careful. It doesn't do into a
hour on payroll tax every Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Do it. Do whatever the hell you like. I think it'll be a lot of fun. You're two great blokes that South Australians love, so getting to hear every week is going to be an absolute treat. Thanks for coming in, and all the best for the show.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Good on you.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. What we'll do is we'll check traffic, and when we come back, Ryan Fitzgerald is going to join us because he too is in the studio and coming up in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At Melrose Park, burst water main still causing headaches this morning. South Road near Raglan Avenue. Lots of debris there. Speeds at 41, lane closed heading outbound. Really heavy delays even early if you've got to head that way. Plympton Park, reports of a smash at Marion Road at Cross Road and slow for works at Paradise. Lower North East Road near Church Road. You'll find cameras this morning, Brooker Terrace, Richmond and Crittenden Road at Findon. Hungry? Head to a Porto for the new Bondi Strip Box, a Bondi burger, chips, 2 crispy chicken strips and a drink for just $15.95. Limited time only and only at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
South Australia welcomes the nation. Gather round. The Festival of Football is here. Every team from every state here to play on South Australian soil. Experience all that our great state has to offer and enjoy a football experience like no other. All the clubs, all the players, all the matches, all in our own backyard. Listen to Adelaide's 5AA right across the weekend and don't miss a minute of the action.
How awesome! Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has plenty of Tiguans and Amaroks in stock. Tiguan Allspace is a 7-seater with plenty of room and plenty of smarts featuring auto park, adaptive cruise control and lane assist. And the latest generation Amarok has a big 1-ton payload and 3.5-ton towing capacity. But inside, you'll get all the comforts of a luxury vehicle. There's plenty of stock that must go. Hurry in for a deal. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Wella, wella, wella. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt's spices. Everyone's gonna save $1 or $2. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt's spices, yeah.
Look for Hoyt's most popular household herbs and spices at your supermarket. Whole black pepper, 4-colour peppercorn mix, oregano, mixed herbs, vanilla sugar, sesame seeds, poppy seeds. Refill your empty spice jars with value to spice up your kitchen. You'll be happy with Hoyt's at Coles, Woolworths and all good independent supermarkets.
Hoyt's spices, yeah.
If you're in business, manufacturing, warehousing, look, frankly, it could be any business, Sharman Shelving can help you keep everything organised. They're a real time saver, and as we know, David, time is money.
Yeah, that's true. They're so well designed, though. I just love looking at my Sharman shelf. I've had it for 4 years now, and it still looks like it's walked out of the showroom. Bill and his team at Sharman Shelving, they've been doing it for years in businesses all over SA, improving workflow efficiencies.
That's right. They'll help revolutionise the space you have, no matter how big or small it is. And look, if you're worried about the cost, remember, Sharman Shelving isn't just about short-term fixes. It's an investment in long-term organisation with affordable solutions and designs for any budget.
And look, these things, they're built to last, so whatever you're paying up front is going to give you enduring value for money. Get in touch and see Bill for a free measure and quote. He'll gladly show you what he can do. Every business needs a little Sharman. SharmanShelving.com.au or take a look on Facebook.
Don't just send it, ace it.
If your current job is driving you bonkers, get outdoors and hit the road. ACET Transport Solutions is growing and they need more drivers to keep their promise of perfect service. So, if you want a career that'll take you places, get in touch with the team at ACET Transport Solutions. Visit acettransport.au.
Don't just send it, ACET.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
12 to 9. I bet a few of our listeners were lucky enough to get along to the filming of The Front Bar that was on last night. They, along with all the big shows, none bigger than The Front Bar, of course, are in town for Gather Round, including our next guest, our regular guest, our footy oracle, the beloved Ryan Fitzgerald. Fitzy, good morning to you.
Sweet goodness. Pembo, thanks for having me, boys.
Mate, great to actually have you here in the studio, too.
It is.
The real living, breathing Ryan Fitzgerald.
Well, it was, and last night was really special because we had the Jarman brothers back again, Andrew and Darren, and always have stories, but we had the amazing Jack Cale talking about Port Adelaide along with Choco, and I didn't know how much Choco looked up to Jack growing up as a player and a coach.
It was a good interview, that.
It was great. And then we had the Messiah, Malcolm Blight. The best thing about when Blighty comes on the show, because he's got so many great stories, you have a beer with him afterwards. So we're sitting down having a beer, and I just wanted to know, I mean, Blighty's coached some amazing players over the years, but I asked him about Gary Ablett Sr. at Geelong. And I said, well, you know, are the stories true that he used to miss training and all this kind of stuff? And he said the only time he ever missed training was Sundays because he would go to church.
Yeah.
So we would have recovery. And he said it got to a point where there were a few people in the team that he knew was upset that Gary wasn't there Sundays. So he said to the leadership group at Geelong, he said, all right, Monday, have a week to think about this, but next Monday, everybody gets together and we make a decision. Does Gary stick around, or do we turf him because he's not adhering to the rules and he's not rocking up to Sunday's training? That Saturday, he went out and kicked 14 goals against Richmond. And the leadership group goes, I reckon we should keep him.
That's all right.
He was deeply religious, wasn't he? Because when he won the Norm Smith in '89, he gave that speech, world's shortest ever speech. He got up and he said, like to thank the Hawthorn Football Club, like to thank the Geelong Football Club, like to thank God for making it all possible.
Yes. He did. He was very religious. Yeah. But there's so many amazing stories because Ford was their major sponsor for years, Geelong. So he used to get given a brand new Ford car. So, but he was, his concentration span wasn't too good, apparently, Gary, that he forgot that it runs out of fuel. So along the Geelong Highway there, that would go into Melbourne, there would just be strewn on the side of the road brand new Fords, and then he would hitchhike.
No.
And a supporter would pick him up and take him to training every day. So he'd just leave the car on the side of the road, go into Ford and grab a new one every time.
Mate, I was watching that show last night, and you know this amazing sort of and such a long history of football talent, but more importantly, beyond the players and the coaches, the passion of the fans in SA. Like, there's no better place to have gather around because it's like a celebration of what's in our DNA, isn't it?
What I love about the front bar, and it's a Melbourne show, Malloy came up with it, and his idea was, I just want to have a few beers at the bar and talk about footy, and it started as a web show, and now it's massive, but for them to embrace South Australia, and they really do, they lean on me a little bit just to say who's the personalities that we need to get on the show. And I mean, we've had Blight, Jarmans, we had Jack and Choco last night, but I'm trying to think. I've tried for Gary McIntosh for years. I think Gary would be amazing, but Gary doesn't like going.
Gary McIntosh, after he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, you know, he refused to go. He refused to go to it
because of the AFL element.
But equally, he's such a humble bloke.
He is,
but he's also hugely principled. And he almost seems to think the AFL in his mind doesn't even exist.
Yes,
as an entity.
It's amazing. But see, I mean, he'll come on radio, but he just doesn't want to go in front of a screen. I thought Rick Davies might be good, but we need more suggestions.
Mate, give you the drum. I've seen Rick speak at a couple of Sturt functions.
Amazing.
But I don't know if you could put him on television. Seriously,
he doesn't mind dropping a few profanities, does he?
Oh. And he's got some pretty out there political views.
Who else? I mean, who else could you get that South Australia? I mean, we've had the Rat. You know, I mean, Craig Bradley's hard to get as well. But I mean, there's.
Have you done Sticks? Have you done Stephen Kernahan?
Sticks has been on numerous times, and the boys love getting him on. But he could be for the next gather round because you always associate him with the Bays. But there's just so many characters you could get.
Are you? Feeling a little bit nervous about gather round tonight? Kicked off Adelaide Football Club at Adelaide. Last year it was so much joy, and quarter time I thought, geez, gather round's the best thing that's ever happened.
Do you know what I keep saying to myself? Do you remember this time last year where everyone was going for Michael Voss's head, and he was gone?
Yeah,
he was gone.
Good point.
Carlton started the year really badly, so that's
Port started 0-4.
Yep. GWS started really badly last year and ended up they're the best team in the comp right now, so it can turn, right? So I'm just hoping Melbourne They're coming off a short break, but they're playing good footy. So I'm just hoping and praying. It'll click at some stage. It will. You've got to stay positive.
See, I thought what someone should have done was, because the SA Tourism Commission, they're spending all this money, all of our money. You know, we're getting bang for our buck as a state out of it. But someone should have said to them, look, we know the game's on Thursday night, but what we're going to do, we're going to take you to Darrenburg for lunch on Thursday.
Yeah.
And just plied them full of Shiraz.
Yeah.
And just done a number on
the
it.
problem is the Melbourne Football Club wouldn't go in for extracurricular activities, so I can't imagine they'd be susceptible to that kind of malarkey. And
The good thing is, though, if you do fail a Shiraz test in the AFL, no one will ever know about it.
You can go and get your test done on your way to Darrenburg before you get there.
Hey, we should do some tips, Fitzy.
Okay.
That said, Tyson's got a bone to pick with you. He just texted us on the Duttons text line and said, 4, Fitzy, and he put in 4 exclamation marks after it. He said, I'm now coming second in the tips.
I'm sorry, last week was a bad week. But I am betting with my head and not my heart when it comes to the Crows.
I think you're going pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Stick with me. Stick with me on this one. What do you got for me? What's first game?
All right, here we go. We'll do tonight, Crows, Demons.
I've got a bet with my head, so I've got to go the D's. They're in form.
Brisbane and North at Nord Oval.
Brisbane will win that quite convincingly.
Port Bombers tomorrow night.
Port Adelaide will bounce back after their loss to Melbourne, so they'll beat the Bombers at home.
And, geez, poor old West Coast up in the hills with the Swans.
$11.50 they're playing West Coast to win.
No, are they?
Yeah.
$11.50?
$11.50.
Yeah. Swans are paying $1.04.
Oh, that's extraordinary.
That's the early game. 1 o'clock, Swans will win that.
Freo and the Blues.
This will be a belter.
Yeah, that will be a good game.
I think Freo away from home. Carlton are playing good footy. I'm going to go the Blues.
And then second half of the doubleheader at the Adelaide Oval, the Bulldogs and the Cats.
This will be a great game. The Cats are sort of up and down, but when their best is very, very good football. So I'll go the Cats.
Then the Suns and the Giants.
Giants will win that. They're in too good a form.
Tigers and the Saints at Nord.
I'm going to go the Saints. Defensively, they're very good, the Saints.
And then this is apparently the only game you can still get tickets for. The Pies and the Hawks.
Yep. The Pies, Brisbane up at Gabba last week. That was a great win, so they're back into form, unfortunately.
West Coast in Buster Douglas territory there. That's frightening. I can't believe those are the odds.
It's crazy.
You have any more official commitments, or can you just enjoy the footy now from this point on?
Got a few. There's a few Sydney Swans boys coming over for the Mount Barker game on Saturday, so I'll take them around and show them a few Shirazes around here. But yeah, that's about it. I'll go to the game tonight. A bit nervous about that, but I'll enjoy the weekend. A great weekend.
Did you ever turn up at Macca's back in the day and talk and in under 4 seconds describe the contents of a Big Mac to win yourself a free Coke?
Yes, to all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Look at that. We didn't prep him at all for that either, by the way. Just had a feeling.
Give that man a cricket poster.
Have you heard Pembo do it?
To all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
He was very quick. Yeah, it was very good.
That was the guy who's written and authorised by-election advertisements.
Of course, if you can say it quickest out of all of our listeners, we're going to send you off with the ultimate Macca's VIP experience on Friday night, Essendon Port. Get calling now, 8223 Fitzy would be high among the contenders, I reckon.
That's pretty good.
The times are going to be revealed on Friday. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to let's put Fitzy's in and see where he comes. Be like Top Gear on the totem pole.
Yeah.
We'll let you know where you come. David as well. And it'll be revealed Friday morning.
He beat me for sure.
Fitzy, enjoy the rest of your weekend,
Love
mate.
you, boys.
Great to have you in the
Good on you,
studio.
mate.
Just
Thanks,
awesome. 8223 0055. We'll give someone a chance to be in the running for the VIP experience shortly. But first, let's check in with Jade, who's out on the road. Sounds like they're working on that burst water main, Jade.
They most definitely are, yes. All the machinery is working. We've got the excavator. We've got another piece of machinery. I've got no idea what it is, but it's got a very sharp blade and it's cutting into the road right now to fix this burst water pipe that occurred just before 6 a.m. this morning. Sorry, I'm just being told to leave the area. No problems, mate, doing that right now. They are busy working. They're busy fixing it, and I'm clearly in the way, coming to you live on the scene as it happens. But the traffic here is absolutely chaotic, still banked up back to Cross Road, down to a single lane, a lot of debris on the road, down to 40 clicks. So the guys are going to be here on the scene well into the afternoon, quite possibly until peak hour. You can see on the vision that I filmed a few moments ago that the bricks on the pathway have just been peeled up. The sheer pressure of the water has just, basically just popped them out off the concrete. So that's going to take some time because it is, as you just heard, it's very unsafe to be standing on that footpath. So, yes, steer clear of the area if you can because traffic is chaotic.
All right, great stuff, Jade. We know our roving reporters made it when they're starting to get asked to move along.
I thought it was excellent use of the word mate by Jade. It was more of a forthright mate than a genial mate, wasn't it? It was like, yeah, I'm moving, mate.
Yeah.
I'm moving,
it's
mate.
When you learn to speak Australian, you understand the different tones of mate. Maxine's called in. Maxine, here's your big opportunity to be off to Port Essendon Friday night with the ultimate VIP experience. Give us that magic Macca's phrase as fast as you can.
2 will be patted, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
That was hot. That was hot. Maxine,
I reckon Maxine
that was pretty good. Late, when we get close to 9, they get super fast, I've noticed. People wake up, I think, get their coffee. Maxine, you're in the running. Tomorrow morning, we reveal all the times, and we put 2 more people in the running, and then before 9 o'clock, we'll announce the winner. We're out of time, though. Matt Pantelis is coming up, and we will catch you tomorrow from 6 from Elder Park. Make sure you catch us down there in the build-up to, the big weekend of Gather Round footy.
On 5AA Mornings today, following up on yesterday's story concerns private patients.